infections like the flu, but, it's not the same virus. Certainly not.
Part of the problem is definitely the threshold, but also we don't have any goalposts. There's no, at first it was, okay, we need to shut everything down so we don't overcrowd the hospitals. Yeah, 2 weeks, right? And then it was flatten the curve, and that should take, 4 weeks?
Yeah. The curve is
and we're
as
in month
flat
5.
as it's going to get.
Yeah, it ain't getting any flatter.
Right. And at this point, it's like, I'm scared. Okay, you're scared. I got it. You're scared. This could come back. Or a whole new virus you've never heard of before could start up starting this today. Right now, somebody could go chomping on a moray eel down in the Caribbean, apparently, I don't know where, and poof, you got St. Vincent's flu. I don't know. I'm just making this up. I'm terribly sorry for St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I love my honeymoon was awesome, or whatever the case may be. And you don't know. I mean, if you're scared, and that's fine. You can be scared. You should be able to take the precautions.
I recommend you not, though. I mean, because living in a state of fear is not any way to live, in my opinion. That is not living at all, actually. It's just being afraid, and I don't know how you can do anything productive or, actually care about anybody in any meaningful fashion if you're the one who's constantly afraid. So you're not really benefiting anybody. You're not helping anybody. If anything, you're making things worse for people because you're spreading your fear. You're infecting other people, especially these poor kids. These poor kids that are,
Imagine being in school during this whole thing.
I can't even.
If you're in the 5th grade or something and your society's acting this way, what kind of message does that send?
It's horrifying. In fact, I do have a story about kids going back to school under COVID and all the stupid stuff that's going on with that. But yeah, please, if you're living in fear, you need to go get some help.
The number of people under the age of 24 that catch this disease and die from it is remarkably low.
But see, they scare you by saying that the kids are going to communicate it, right? So not that you should be afraid that your 7-year-old kid is going to catch it and die, but that he's going to go around grandma or grandpa and kill them.
Right. You shouldn't.
Even though most elderly people are surviving it as well, with no problem.
My son is at my son and my mother live in the same domicile, and I have taken certain precautions surrounding that because I think that's worth doing. When you're talking about people over the age of 80 who die from this, there are quite a few. I'm still curious, still looking for the numbers.
Percentage-wise, it's not very large either.
What's that?
As from what I've seen, percentage-wise, it's not very large either. It's usually the people who are what do they call it? Comorbidity conditions. They've already got serious problems.
Being 80 is its own comorbidity.
I get what you're saying, but there was a story in the news about an 102-year-old lady who kicked this thing's butt. She thinks it's the fact that she drinks a glass of wine every day.
Step back for a second.
Maybe.
This is what the maskers, the fear mongers do. They pull out some anecdotal story.
That's exactly what it is.
I got
it's a case study.
There's a 102-year-old woman that kicked his butt, and by God, I bless Ethel and her butt kicking. However, I'm not going to use Ethel as a standard here any more than I'm going to use little Johnny at school. Little Johnny is probably not going to die from this. I don't care
he could die.
What the situation is. He could.
Some kid somewhere has probably died from this.
I got you right now. In the week of July the 25th, under the age of 24, 15 people died.
Kids die from the flu too.
COVID, as so claimed.
Yep.
Kids die at far greater numbers from the flu, and we didn't have any problems sending their little butts to school then.
No problems.
Either. I mean, stunningly more kids die from the flu every year than, but school's fine at that point. See, that's why I want a threshold. Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a threshold. I don't know what it is, and I'm just looking for it. I'm not claiming to be an expert. All I'm doing is reading crap off the CDC's site, which I wish that other Americans who want to run their yackers about this thing would do. Just go to the CDC.
They've all read things in some places.
What's that?
They've all read things in places that cite the CDC.
I don't care about that.
CDC's been
go
cited
to the
all over the
CDC
place.
site, and then we can start. Then we're all on the same page talking about something. And somebody give me a threshold. Yeah. Somebody tell me what is going to change.
Yeah, the fact that you can't tell what was worse for society, the economic collapse or the virus itself, tells you that the virus is pretty negligible. You know what I mean? I think maybe more people are killing themselves from suicide or dying of starvation.
Right. There's a good chance. Well, they're probably not starving in the United States.
Not quite,
suicide, you're seeing that happen.
For sure.
Now, we don't have any real solid numbers, but what we had a few months ago...
Well, don't forget spousal abuses. I mean, how many kids have been killed by
addiction,
drug
abuse?
Murder is way up in inner cities.
Is that right?
Oh, yeah.
855-450-FREE, that's the toll-free number. Now Biden wants to help protect the whole country. He's going to have a national mask mandate. If you just elect him, then you'll be even safer, right? Isn't that what's most important?
Safety.
That you feel safe. 855-450-FREE. If you want to dial in to join the discussion, you can join us here. This is Free Talk Live on the radio and the internet. More in moments.
Maxwell, he was a runaway into rescue, great disposition. About 9 years ago, he was scratching a lot, and he started losing some hair. My vet, she said, oh, he must be allergic to the chicken. Another vet said, it's the grain. Third vet, she says it's the weather, something in the air. And then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. I had been listening to the Dynavite ads, hearing about different stories of different people, and it just clicked. I got my first 90-day supply, and it took a grand total of 2 weeks. And the dog stopped itching, the hair stopped falling out.
Dynavite is nutrition.
And Maxwell loves it. Now he's close to 10. And the Dynavite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
Dynavite for life. You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
And he's a spectacular dog.
DINOVITE.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org. News from news.bitcoin.com. Goldman Sachs warns that the U.S. dollar is on the path to lose world reserve currency status. Experts say that Bitcoin will continue to rise to as much as $20,000 this year. Coinbase reports more institutional investors are buying cryptocurrency. Cashgames.bitcoin.com announces a $3,000 leaderboard tournament. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. You bring up what you want right here. The toll-free number for you is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. From mid-March to mid-July, Divvy, the new easy-to-use cryptocurrency that we've been promoting on Free Talk Live, increased in value by over 10 times. Now, Divvy could go up even further, and of course that's their goal. However, we don't know what's going to happen in the future. That said, it's definitely something to keep an eye on and consider putting a little bit of money into because, well, it's done pretty well here for us at Free Talk Live. You can go to divvyproject.org and begin earning Divvy by starting a masternode, which is super easy. That's one of the things they did.
Yeah, the one-click masternode.
They made masternodes easy, which they were never easy. So that's awesome. And then you can also stake Divvy. They've even got a lotto for people who stake the coin as well. Opportunity has knocked every day here on Free Talk Live since last September. Will you answer? Divvyproject.org, DIVIproject.org. Joe Biden called for a nationwide mask mandate, according to Fox News, to supposedly help fight the spread of the coronavirus, which the reality is they just want people to put on masks to show how obedient they are.
That's the thing. People need to realize that this can all be a real virus, and at the same time, this is the new rally cry. This is the terrorists win from the 2000s.
It sure is.
It's wear the mask or else COVID wins.
Or the Republicans win.
Or the Republicans win.
I feel like this is really. I mean, I'm not blaming one particular side, though I want to.
Well, remember, Trump called COVID, quote, the invisible enemy. So he's treating it just like terrorism. Right, so it is absolutely the new war on terror, except it's even more nebulous, and everyone's a suspect now. It used to
don't
just
forget
be
that Trump is held to every word that he says, but everybody else can change their mind. All right, like Fauci advised at one point against masks.
The Surgeon General did that. He has a tweet that's still circulating. It says, "Don't wear masks. They could make it worse."
Well, they could if you took the masks from the from the EMS people and these sorts of things. But whatever, I don't know. I mean, again, everybody is allowed to make a mistake here, including old Sleepy Joe here, but Trump's not.
Well, they're doing things on purpose. I'm not going to say they're making mistakes.
I don't think these two sides are working in tandem, do you?
Well, I'm sure they don't want you to think that.
Okay.
But
so
what I see, Mark, is that the two sides are doing the exact same thing.
I don't
now,
see it
you
that
may
way.
have different levels of doing the same thing. So one state may have a total ban on all bars, while the other state may allow 25% attendance in bars. But really, the difference is only in degrees. There are a handful of governors, and they do tend to be Republicans, who have been more hands-off than others, but there's plenty of Republican governors out there, from what I've seen. Texas is one of them. New Hampshire is another one that have been absolutely cracking down. The government goon in place here in New Hampshire, Sununu, who is a Republican, is getting 9 out of 10 Democrats to endorse the work that he's doing on COVID. And when I say work, I mean cracking down on peaceful people and issuing various different mandates. His recent one that we mentioned a few days ago was now that if you have a scheduled event with more than 100 attendees and people are not in masks at said scheduled event, that will result in misdemeanor charges being brought against the event organizers. So that's now in place. Right, they're putting the pressure on the people who they can put pressure on. It's easier for them to go after a handful of people than it is to go after 150 people, right?
Sure.
So they go after the organizers, they put the pressure on them, and they use them as their unpaid enforcers to make sure that people comply. Now, I'm hoping that Bike Week in Laconia will not comply, because we just got out of Sturgis is going on, I guess, as we speak, but it's happening up in South Dakota, and it's been making headlines. And so the governor, of course, saw the Sturgis situation here. The governor of New Hampshire saw that, and now he's responding, and he's passed this new order, and there's going to be apparently a tent revival in another town in New Hampshire tomorrow, and the governor's talking about how that's not allowed, and we need to put a stop to this sort of thing. And so
and again,
here's a Republican, Mark, so please don't act for a moment like the Republicans are so much better about this than the Democrats.
Okay, I think that like the Republicans and the Democrats are both acknowledging that COVID exists, And what Mark is saying, and what I kind of agree with, is that the Republicans say it exists and we should do something about it, but the Democrats are saying we should stop at nothing until it's extinguished.
No doubt.
And that's so much more
going
authoritarian.
Further. They do seem to be going further, but they're all authoritarian.
Definitely.
And they're all using their so-called powers.
They're all authoritarian in so much as they want to enforce what it is that they think is the right thing to enforce.
Yeah.
And that is what the state does.
It's destroying business.
Right?
It's destroying freedom.
No doubt.
Yeah.
You won't get any argument from me. I think that human freedom and the economy is more important than the COVID lockdown, and
totally
I'm convinced
agree.
of that.
Yep.
However, what I would say is that I do see a difference when I'm looking at the Republicans and Democrats. That will not convince me to vote for Donald Trump come November. I'm still voting for liberty by that standard, but I think there's a difference.
Yeah, like I said, the difference is in degrees, in the same way that there's a difference between the United States government and the North Korean government.
Yep.
Okay, they all do the same thing fundamentally, which is tell people what to do and how to live and how to run their business. And some of them are a little bit more enforcey than the others. That's all.
Yeah, we have to consider the ulterior motives, too. I mean, Trump started wearing a mask a couple weeks ago, but a lot of people speculated that's just because he's going to use that in his argument to deny mail-in ballot voting, right? It's like, okay, masks actually do work, which means we can all go to the ballot box. So
yeah, I mean, who knows? He's playing his 4D chess or 12D chess.
I have no idea what's going on.
But going on here, the Democratic nominee...
I'm just waiting for my 3 ballots at my 3 different residences. That's all.
Presumptive Democratic nominee spoke after sitting down for a briefing on the coronavirus with public health experts. He was joined at the briefing by his newly named running mate, Senator Kamala Harris of California, who, of course, as we know, is a cop. She was the attorney general there in California, saying, quote, "Let's institute a mask mandate nationwide starting immediately, and we will save lives. The estimates are we will save over 40,000 lives in the next 3 months if that is done," Biden emphasized. And the former vice president stressed that wearing a mask, quote, "increases exponentially the prospect that if you are a carrier and you don't even know it, that you will not infect anyone if you cough, sneeze, sing, or shout," unquote. And by the way, they had apparently the Kamala Harris announcement or whatever. There was no audience. So it was the first vice presidential nomination announcement thing, which never, no one has ever attended before.
It's bizarre.
Yeah, so it's
a bizarre world.
Yeah, the whole thing is so weird, and so many people are embracing this. So he wants to do a nationwide mandate. Now, it doesn't say here what the details of this would be. What would the punishment be if you were found violating this? Is this going to be something that the FBI is going to go, arresting people for not wearing masks? What does it even mean to have a little rule like that on a nationwide basis?
Well, it's not a role of the president anyway. He can make a point of it, but it's not their job.
Yeah, well, he's calling for national legislation.
Yeah,
he's talking about passing a law.
Right. It would be the president's job to sign something like that. Yes.
So if you want to comment, you're welcome to join us here. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. One of our chat room participants there on the Discord server, Cream Pie, said he was out dumpster diving because he was bored last night. And he noticed a couple of business parks with roll-off dumpsters out front. Tenants are moving out, landlords ripping everything out. The giant Nielsen Media Research headquarters complex in town has an entire building shut down, an entire parking lot closed. It's starting to be major changes to business out there, and a lot of these things are not going to be reversed. There's just people are going to stay home, and they're not going to have to go to work. And what's that going to mean for things? It's Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Goldman Sachs warns that the U.S. dollar is on the path to lose world reserve currency status. Experts say that Bitcoin will continue to rise to as much as $20,000 this year. Coinbase reports more institutional investors are buying cryptocurrency. Cashgames.bitcoin.com announces a $3,000 leaderboard tournament. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. Physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
When you're coping with bad news and the news media come calling, and they will, don't clam up. As notorious political figures find out the hard way, the cover-up can be worse than the crime. So get out in front of unfavorable news about your company, your group, or organization, or yourself. The sooner you confront a negative story, the sooner it will be over. Responding as quickly to negative stories as you do to positive ones enhances your credibility. Hiding embarrassing information or lying will do more damage than damage control. Never stonewall. Tell your side of the story, use specifics, and detail what corrective action has already been taken. Respond in kind. If the issue is emotional, don't sound like a cold, unemotional Mr. Spock. For more tips on critical communication skills for the way things are now, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free and bring up anything that you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. How do you feel about a nationwide mask mandate? Apparently, the Biden campaign is promoting that as a thing. And as I said, you're going to see these political parties fighting over who's the toughest against the coronavirus, whose plan will save the most lives, and they're claiming they're going to save 40,000 lives if just everybody puts a mask on. So therefore, if you don't put a mask on, if your concern is about
you're a mass murderer.
If your concern is about individual liberty, and if your belief is that freedom is actually, something you have to take a risk in order to have, and that it's valuable, and that it's something that is worth pursuing despite whatever the risks might be, then you're the enemy.
You're just selfish.
Well, that's what they certainly are going to be saying. And some people have said this is going to be like a civil war that could come out of this. I don't know if that's the case, but it's certainly got people riled up.
There are certainly people that believe that they can use violence against you based on their feelings surrounding masks. Right?
Some people actually have used violence, and you don't mean just calling the cops. You mean like pepper spraying somebody without a mask on, that kind of thing.
And one wonders, there are people manhandling people over masks, and that kind of thing. And I mean, when somebody decides they don't like it and pulls out their concealed carry and levels it at somebody, it's obviously an escalation. What's it mean? I don't know.
So there's more coming up here, including a story about Americans now fear touching cash. A majority of Americans are afraid now to touch cash. Updates on what are colleges planning as far as their new stupid rules that they're going to be putting into place for the 2020 school year ahead that is starting here in just weeks, if not immediately for some people in some places. We can talk about that. In fact, Tyler is getting ready to start a semester at a local college, so you may be able to weigh in on that discussion as well. And again, if you want to jump on the phones, you can. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. But I was reading some of the input here from our chatters this afternoon on our Discord server, which you can join the Discord over at discord.lrn.fm. And Cream Pie, he's always got interesting things to say. He points out that he was dumpster diving for a few minutes last night, going to businesses and looking for valuable things in dumpsters. Worked out pretty well for folks that do that kind of work. And he noticed that a lot of these business parks and industrial areas, they got big dumpsters out front. Tenants are moving out. Landlords ripping everything out. Nielsen Media, the ratings company, they have a huge building that's completely closed.
If people aren't driving as much, and I'm not claiming that's true, if people aren't driving as much, then they're not listening to the radio as much.
Yeah, well, but the point is not that they're not busy, not that Nielsen is closed. It's just the business is closed. The location is closed. A lot of these companies, Mark, they're telling their employees, you can work from home now.
Yeah, that's true.
And so you're going to see, and you are seeing, it sounds like what he's pointing out here is you're seeing a reorganization of how business works. So many of these companies all of a sudden just threw their employees into a work from home situation to just sort of like, all right, well, we'll figure this out. And they did, right? Like they brought in new telephone systems and they, did whatever they needed to do with VPN access to get their people to be able to do the jobs that they had done from whatever offices that they had from their homes, which is one of the side benefits of this whole insanity, this system that has come down, is that some people, they've got a better situation with work now. They don't have to drive 45 minutes one way. They don't have to leave the kids at some babysitter or whatever. So
I think we could see, imagine America. Imagine no institutions. People not going into large corporations and sitting in cubicles. People not going to schools and sitting there spreading God knows what. They've always been dirty little cesspools. And people not going into nursing homes. Like somehow or another, we managed to care for people in individual homes. And that's somehow better. I think that that's a good thing. And I like the new work from home America. Now, I get it. Some parents have it harder because they're, the kids aren't off at school. Your middle class welfare babysitting day prisons have been shut down and you want them back. I understand. But maybe this is the thing you got to give up. I certainly hope so, because I'm sick and tired of paying for a less than mediocre education.
Well, they're going to keep charging you for the same, or if not worse, government education.
Oh, they're going to keep charging me. Well, then why don't I just give up and not suggest anything about masks?
What do you mean?
They're going to force you to wear a mask, Ian.
No, they're not.
Oh, well, yeah, they are.
No, I'll go to prison or whatever. It's fine.
You'll wear a mask at some point or another. Because
I did yesterday, as I explained on the air.
Okay.
Yeah. Were you here for that show? Because I talked about it.
I don't recall you having said it on the air, but okay.
I did, yeah.
And I'm sorry that had to happen to you. All I'm saying is your defeatist attitude surrounding government school and the costs of it, I can mirror that defeatist attitude surrounding masks. I hope that Americans have the freedom to not wear masks.
Yeah.
And I hope that Americans can finally stab this union government school bullcrap.
I hope so too, but right now it's not even close. Right now, you don't have enough people.
Right now, Democrats are begging us not to send kids to government schools, and Free Talk Live wants to talk about masks.
No, Mark, that's not what's happening. The schools, even if they're not sending the kids there, are going to continue operating, and they're going to continue operating with a very large budget.
Donald Trump just suggested that that money should be given to parents.
Great. He doesn't get to control how that works.
No, but you're saying like nobody's talking about it.
No, what I'm saying is no one is talking about getting the government out of education. That's not happening. All of these people believe in the idea of public education. Almost all of them. They were educated in government schools. So, of course, they think that those should continue to exist. The whole idea of getting rid of government education is seen as a crazy fantasy.
I listened to a Republican on the radio tonight coming in who said, finally, we can get rid of these public schools.
Really?
Yes.
I think the institutions are going to exist in some form or another, but they're not going to exist in this brick and mortar fashion that they have been. Right?
Some places they will, some places they won't.
Yeah, in some places
government
they might.
school at a tenth of the price coming over the internet? Okay.
You're presuming they're going to lower the price.
Well, and this isn't just happening with schools. This is happening with businesses too, right? Like I saw an article today that the headquarters for REI in Seattle, they just built a building and now they're going to sell it. Well, and who's going to buy it? And, all these companies are doing it at the same time, right? And
there's going to be a huge drop in commercial retail price.
Sounds like condominiums.
Yeah, well, and that's the thing. You've also, I know several people who have condos that are on the market in some of these big cities because they decided to move out to the country. A lot of people did.
Getting out.
Yeah.
So it's going to drive prices down,
Way
right?
down,
Like if there's a huge glut of properties that are for sale, both commercial and residential, prices are going down.
And if people won't buy these buildings, right, a lot of the city tax revenues come from these kind of institutions.
Yep.
So we're wondering as well, it's like, well, what's going to happen financially with the states that this is happening in?
Drive up prices for property taxes because the states aren't going to want to give up what they've got so far.
They definitely aren't going to want to give that up. And that's the thing. The school boards aren't going to want to give up their budgets.
You're
that they have.
absolutely right. I would not contend otherwise. Yeah. But what I would say is that we have to say something. Like when
Dude, I've been saying things the whole time. I don't know about you, but I've been to the Keene City school board meetings. I didn't go this year, but like probably for the last decade prior to that.
If that's what you're talking about, going and talking to the school board about it? No, I'm talking about
I've run for
Americans
office.
I've
run for office, okay? So, I mean, I've definitely run for school board. I've run for various different... Look, maybe you're right, Mark, and maybe we are on the cusp of a major renaissance in the United States where people decide that they've had enough of government schools, period. They're going to pull their kids out. And that's happening. We're seeing some people doing homeschooling before who hadn't done homeschooling previously because they were thrown into it. And they were able to find out that, hey, this isn't so bad. Our kids can learn at their own pace, and they don't have bullies, and they don't have, ridiculous rules and lunchtime, all the nonsense from the government schools. So, I mean, there's definitely going to be, I think, at the end of 2020, I think it's safe to say you're going to have more homeschoolers than you had at the beginning of 2020.
That's a positive thing.
I think that's safe to say. And it is a positive thing. But that doesn't mean that government school is like on its deathbed or something like that. These teachers' unions are locked in. They've got contracts, and those contracts are ironclad. And I suspect that those contracts aren't going to change just because the location of the schooling has changed from in physical real-world class to an online class. So
they'll have to change at some point.
The only time they'll have to change is if people stop paying taxes.
Well, no, when they renew the contract, they'd have to change.
That's the only time it'll stop, Mark, is if you stop paying taxes, because then they won't be able to pay these bureaucrats. More coming up here in moments. This is Free Talk Live.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from MyPatriotSupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's MyPatriotSupply.com. the original Patriot Preparedness Company. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
Hello.
Free Talk Live.
Where did you get this right to tell me what I can do in my business? Where do you get the right?
I support private property.
No, you don't.
You're a liar. You don't understand
I'm a liar.
it. You're either a liar or you don't understand what private
house.
property is. One or the other.
Your house is private property.
Yeah, my business is
you
too.
Open up a business
It
to
is
the public. Now
open
it's
to
not
the
private.
public.
As far as I'm concerned.
Well,
That's just an opinion.
you can redefine property if that's what you want to do. Where do you get the right to tell me what I can do in my business?
My lungs. So when they pass a law,
The government,
has lungs, sir.
The law. You just pointed it out.
I'm being silly.
The law.
You're being a Nazi.
You're absolutely right. The law is what gives you the right. The law is a bunch of words written on paper by liars and thieves, and you're willing to use that force that they have to reach your own ends. When you're willing to do that, then anybody can do anything to you.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. You bring up anything that you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. Ethereum smart contracts enable Intercoin to be traded against Bitcoin, Ethereum, as well as a growing set of tokens pegged to your favorite fiat currency. Intercoin can be used to turn these into virtual versions of Bitcoin or US dollars that have all the advanced features of Intercoin community currencies. They would finally be spendable in everyday payments, be programmable, instantly convertible, generate analytics, and more. When done, people can cash out back into the original versions. Think of Intercoin as a decentralized Layer 2 solution that isn't controlled by anyone. Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think that's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org. You can invest in this project and potentially make big gains or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org. It's Ian, Tyler, and Mark are in the studio here tonight, but we're going to go to your phone calls and thoughts, and then we can talk about some more COVID madness that continues. But first, Vaginitarian is on the line on our Discord server. Go ahead.
Hey, guys.
Hey, you're calling from Virginia. What's on your mind?
I have an actual positive mask story because I know that it keeps coming up on the air of people who've been yelled at by Karens or in stores and stuff like that. But I had a good interaction today, so I wanted to tell about it.
Yeah, let's hear it.
So our local grocery store in the neighborhood, I have been going there since the beginning with no mask on, not a single day.
Excellent.
I've never been accosted. I've gotten like some looks.
And what's the policy of the store?
They have signs everywhere that say, please wear a mask, require you to wear a mask, state mandate, but no employee
And
has
is there,
ever
I'm
stopped
sorry
me.
to interrupt, is there a state mandate in Virginia?
I don't even know because I don't follow it.
All right.
I don't bother to look because I'm not going to do it.
Good on you.
But yeah, no employees ever stopped me or said, hey, please wear your mask or anything like that. But today when I was checking out, the woman said, hey, I'm sorry that this is weird, but I just need to tell you, I'm so glad you're not wearing a mask.
Wait, now who was this? The cashier or another customer?
The cashier.
Oh, wow. That's wonderful.
That is cool.
And then out of nowhere, she was like, yeah, I hate this. I have to wear it for my job. And it like goes against my libertarian ideals. And she just popped out with that.
Wow, that is cool. Now, she had a mask on, but you didn't. Was there anybody else around to hear this conversation, or was it just between the two of you?
There was one lady in line, and she did move. And I don't know if it was because of that or we started talking and getting along and sharing all of our hatred of the mask and the craziness. So she may have moved for that, or she may have been like, these ladies aren't being safe.
It does appear that the state of Virginia, does have a mask mandate. It looks like some news stories from as early as late May was when this started. And according to WJHL, Governor Northam announces efforts to enforce the mask mandate in Virginia. That story from July 14th. So apparently, at least as of a month ago, that was still a thing.
Well, the only place I wear a mask is my EMT class because it's a medical class and it's very required there. But outside of that, I do not wear a mask.
Very good. Vaginitarian, anything else you want to share with us tonight?
No, it's just refreshing to have somebody in the, so-called essential personnel business type thing sharing their frustration. And she gave me a high five in front of everybody and let me pay in cash.
That's awesome. Thank you again for the story tonight. Vaginitarian calling in and sounding great on our Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. There are, I think, a lot of people out there in the mask world who would rather not have a mask on, but their corporate job, is making them do it.
Oh, yeah. I would imagine that there's a healthy percentage. I don't know if it's
the silent majority, right?
Do you think it's that many?
I think it is. Yeah, I think most people think that this is ridiculous, and they're just going along with it because they hate confrontation.
Sure.
And I've said before, like, I do wear a mask sometimes. It depends on where I'm going and what the context is, because I understand some aspects of it. But what I'm thinking of doing now, and I think I've mentioned this before, is I'm going to start wearing a gas mask when I go to these places because, put it into context for some of these people. Like, how ridiculous do I look? It's like, actually, you look more ridiculous than I do because your mask doesn't even do anything.
Right. Yeah, there's a gas mask now. You have to have special filters for those, and they only limited time, right?
Right, yeah. But I mean, I'll just use the same filter over and over. It's not that big of a deal, right? It's not anthrax.
It's definitely going to stop your spittle from getting on anybody else.
Definitely.
So let's see. Oh, I wanted to share a little bit more here from the Discord server because we were talking about business and industry and how this is changing. Tyler, you're going to go to school in the fall semester here at Keene State College in town, but you're not actually going to go this time.
So they were saying that we would have the option to go to class or to go online. But before the semester started, they made us declare which one we were going to do. So you don't get to pick and choose when you go into school. And they let you know that there's a long list of rules that if you're going to be physically there, that you have to adhere to. And they're talking about you have to wear a mask at all times on campus, indoors, outdoors. You can't go to parties. You can't be around more than 10 people at one time without, we all have to get tested before we go to school too. So, and I haven't been tested yet. Haven't seen a reason to.
So what does the test mean? Like an actual
just to
COVID?
see if you have antibodies.
Okay.
If you've gotten it or if you currently have it, I guess.
Because, I mean, I went to the hospital every day and got screened there for a little while. They take your temperature, big fat deal. No, it's not like they're touching you.
So Elaine Sedate in our Discord chat says, I picked up from a deli that was inside the lobby of an empty office plaza. Huge buildings. Used to be filled with financial and insurance businesses. Deli was still operating. Security in the lobby. Parking lot was empty. At least a few football fields worth of parking.
Wow.
Empty. He says this was in downtown Scottsdale, Arizona. The guy said they are filling orders for delivery services and tourists that ended up there. It's just a few minutes walk from the Art Gallery nightclub area. And he said, I just pulled up following directions from the app. So he'd never been there before. He says, what the F? I'm at this office building to pick up sandwiches. And then Cream Pie says the illusion of not being able to work from home all the time has been shattered. Gonna suck for commercial landlords.
Yeah.
And he says there's a deli in the middle of an industrial area here. He lives in the Tampa area. They have signs up outside like, yes, we are open. Like they're hurting for business. And as he points out, probably 3/4 of the people who frequented that deli are no longer there. 3,000 employees just evaporated from their daily commute here.
Yeah, it's going to be bad for delis. I mean, you're talking about sliced meats and potato salad.
Specifically the ones that were located in industrial areas with the intention of serving the business community. Even now, that's gone.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, would you be willing to drive from your home for a deli sandwich when you could when you go to the grocery store the next time, get some sliced meats?
I drove over to Beaver Street Market the other day because I heard that they were not requiring masks, and I wanted to give them some business.
Okay, so fine.
And I had a delicious Italian sandwich.
Barring your proclivities to support people who agree with your worldview.
Would the average person do it? Probably not.
I mean, I'm just thinking for me is that, I'll just make the sandwich here. I'm going to hop in my car, drive 15 minutes to a place to get a deli sandwich to drive back. Well, as a matter of fact, there's a deli within 7 minutes of my house. And I wouldn't drive there either to get a sandwich.
Yeah, this is going to change the way business is done for everybody, right? Like, I feel like everybody's shopping on Amazon more because of this, or just doing online shopping and stuff.
Well, especially the people who are really against wearing masks, they're just going to start shopping online. And so a lot of local businesses are going to lose business.
I hate giving the business to Amazon, but in my household, people are a little worried about going to random websites and ordering from random websites. When you order from Amazon, not only does it show up, but it shows up quickly. Yeah. Whereas when you order from somebody else,
it wasn't a few months ago. Some of the items were like back, not being delivered immediately because they were prioritizing COVID items. So it could have taken you a month to get what you wanted from Amazon.
Sure, but you do understand that sometimes you order from some random website and you don't get what you order. It just doesn't show up ever.
Oh, I've been waiting on a computer fan, my laptop that I ordered from China through Newegg.com, which is a major website. It's not just some website; it's a major site.
Major one.
But because the product is shipping from China, and shipping is like not a thing right now from China, it's severely delayed in a lot of cases. The first time I tried to order was before Fork Fest. I put the order in hoping I would get it in time. I paid for quick shipping or whatever, and it never even left the warehouse.
Right.
3 weeks later, I had to write them back and say, "Where's my item? Oh, it hasn't left the warehouse yet. Well, go ahead and cancel the order." And then I tried placing another one, and they still haven't shipped. This other company still hasn't shipped it.
My airline ticket, Asiana, was canceled, and I got my refund.
It's coming out of Saipan?
Coming out of Saipan. Yeah. I got my refund within 3 weeks. How did your Hong Kong Express refund come?
I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
And it's been 6 months. 855-450 free. We can talk more about the college situation. Maybe you've seen some of this industrial change that's going on, the shifting, and you want to comment on that, you're welcome to join us here. 855-450 free like freedom. Hour 2's next. It's Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Blasting Biden. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. President Trump coming out swinging against presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's call for a nationwide mask mandate for the next 3 months.
He does not identify what authority the president has to issue such a mandate or how federal law enforcement could possibly enforce it, or why we would be stepping on governors throughout our country, many of whom have done a very good job, and they know what is needed.
Biden said earlier this afternoon that he spoke with health experts who said 40,000 lives would be saved if everyone wore a mask outside. The president also saying he would not veto a new coronavirus stimulus package that included funding for the Postal Service. Negotiations between Democrats and White House officials have broken down. The Senate is now in recess, and it's likely a bill won't be taken up until after Labor Day. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention with a stark warning about what could happen with COVID-19 in the coming months.
Some remarkably blunt and dramatic language coming out of the CDC, basically warning that if Americans fail to follow the guidelines for the coronavirus, this fall could be the worst ever. The CDC also warning about the impact the virus is having on mental health. They interviewed more than 5,000 people across the country, and more than 40% of those interviewed say they had experienced an increase in at least one of the following: anxiety, depression, substance use, or suicide. The most remarkable statistics concerned 18 to 24-year-olds. The one that really stands out is that 25.5% of those in that age bracket have said they had suicidal thoughts within 10 days of taking the survey.
Fox's Steve Harrigan. Israel and the UAE establishing full diplomatic relations in a deal brokered by the U.S. that required Israel to cease its plan to annex the West Bank. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's only halfway over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed.com is the #1 job site in the world because Indeed gets you the best people fast. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need. You can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. Plus, Indeed provides powerful tools to make your search that much easier. With 73% of online job seekers visiting Indeed each month, Indeed is going to get you the important hire you need, just like they have for over 3 million businesses. Right now, Indeed is offering our listeners a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Try Indeed out with a free $75 credit at Indeed.com/Fox. This is their best offer available anywhere. Go right now to Indeed.com/Fox. Terms and conditions apply. Offer valid through September 30th.
77 nights of protests in Portland, and police used a crowd control substance they were told to not use.
Protesters threw what police call an unknown foreign substance at the central precinct doors and ignited a fire outside. They also started launching commercial-grade fireworks at the fence outside of the federal courthouse. After the protesters attacked the police precinct, though, police said they declared a riot and deployed tear gas.
Failure to comply with this order may subject you to citation.
In a statement, police said after the crowd was dispersed, a large explosive and other fireworks were thrown at officers, as were eggs. Police said as it approached 1 a.m., they used more gas and crowd control munitions as the crowd moved back toward the city's Justice Center. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
Milwaukee's former police chief, who was demoted to captain in part for using tear gas against protesters demonstrating over George Floyd's death, has chosen to retire instead of staying with the department. The city's Fire and Police Commission voted unanimously last week to demote Chief Alfonso Morales. A new tropical storm in the Atlantic.
Tropical storm Josephine has formed about 1,000 miles out from the Leeward Islands. It is not currently forecast to become a full hurricane, but it is moving to the west-northwest. On this path, it will pass to the north of the Leeward Islands and Puerto Rico and even east of the Bahamas. But those in the middle Atlantic states should keep an eye on it and prepare for any potential impacts. Josephine is the 10th named Atlantic storm this year. In Broward County, Florida, Evan Brown, Fox News.
AMC theaters set to reopen next week, and they're trying to get people back into the theaters by offering retro ticket prices of 15 cents just for one day. The theaters have been closed in the U.S. since March during its opening day promotion, August 20th. Theaters will show Grease, Ghostbusters, Back to the Future, and Black Panther. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Turning to health news, doctors at Johns Hopkins Medical School have discovered that bones are the coolest part of the body. The 10-year study found that although the body has many cool things in it, nothing is cooler than your skeleton.
Just think about it. You have this soft, fleshy body, but inside of it, there's a second, tinier body that's made out of a super hard rock. Our data is conclusive. Bones are very, very cool.
To conduct the study, researchers examined every single body part and determined how cool or uncool it was.
We initially thought the brain might be the coolest part because it's like a computer that runs on food. But when we looked at it up close, it was all gross and wrinkled. Brains are not cool. Bones are cool.
Doctors discovered that there are big, strong bones like baseball bats in your arms and legs, hand bones that look like a monster claw, and skull bones that make a scary face. Doctors did caution that as cool as human bones are, they're not nearly as cool as dinosaur bones.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want here. We are kicking off the second hour of the show with you tonight. It's Ian.
And Tyler.
And Mark.
We've been talking about some of the changes that are happening out there, some of which a lot of folks may not be aware of because, well, you're not spending your days in industrial parks anymore. But some of the people who've visited them recently that are hanging out in our chat room here tonight on the Discord server are seeing, well, emptiness. There's nothing happening because people aren't going to work. And a lot of these companies are saying, yeah, you can just stay working at home. Now, I think there was some news stories about how what seemed like this sort of wonderful honeymoon of not coming to work was just going to work out great. Turns out some people aren't so great at working from home because they don't have some boss hovering over them with an expectation of, their TPS reports being turned in on time or whatever.
It is important to get those in.
I suspect that it's working fine for some people and not so fine for some other people. There maybe is a bit of a learning curve and so on. But if you've had experience with this, if this is happening in your, you worked in an office before, but now you don't. What have they been telling you? Are you going to be able to come back to work, or is it the new policy is they're just going to go ahead and keep this work from home thing going? They don't have to pay the rent. They'll sell the building, and everybody can just stay at home, and maybe they'll cut your paycheck a little bit later. Now, I don't know if that part's happened yet, right? Because all the government money's been flowing in from these PPP loans or whatever they're called, but
it would cause a downward pressure on paychecks generally.
Don't you think?
Yeah, I would think so, because
overhead can come down.
The person who is competing for your job, and there always is somebody, that person is going to figure into their calculation. They're not going to be figuring gasoline, suits, lunch out, and a variety of other things.
Right.
So they're going to be willing to work for 10% less or something.
Yeah, so you're saying pressure will come from the marketplace as far as
That's
people.
where pressure comes from.
Right. We can go to your calls and thoughts here, and of course you can bring up anything that you want. We got Alan. He's on the line in Tennessee, listening to WGOW there in Chattanooga. Go ahead, Alan. Alan, in Tennessee?
Yes.
Hey, we've got you. Go ahead.
Yes, I was going to make a comment on the mask.
Do me one favor first. Can you pick up your phone?
Yes.
Yeah, you got to pick up the phone because we're hearing ourselves back and it's annoying. So go ahead.
Okay.
Much better.
I just want to make a comment about the mask.
Yes, sir.
I work for a delivery service, one of the big ones. And I've not wore a mask yet. I won't wear a mask.
Excellent.
And anyone that don't want to wear a mask by law doesn't have to. All they've got to do is tell them that they've got a health reason not to.
Mm-hmm.
And by the Disability American Act, they don't have to. Period.
Well, apparently that doesn't work on Southwest Airlines. Southwest Airlines and American Airlines have announced within the last month or so that they are no longer going to be accepting people with medical exemptions.
Well, then they would be sued.
Apparently that hasn't happened yet. Maybe they could. Maybe they will be.
Maybe they're prepping.
Yeah.
I think they will be.
Okay.
And as far as your thing about people staying at home and doing a lot more ordering, you're absolutely correct. Like I said, I work for one of the big delivery companies, and we are getting hammered. Most volume we've had ever.
Wow. So what is it?
Ever.
Is it like Christmas every month now?
Oh, every day.
Wow.
Every day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Now, how long have you worked for
I'm
one of the major delivery companies?
8 years.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep, that's long enough
And
to know.
I'm working about between an hour and a half to 2 hours a day more than I was.
Incredible.
Anytime.
What's the percentage of your coworkers who are wearing masks?
None.
Really?
Wow.
All right.
I hadn't worn any mask in any place that says mask required yet.
Excellent.
You're basically in and out, right?
They have,
like most of the time you're outside, and then you rush in, you drop some stuff off, and then you go.
Yeah, you go in and get signatures at businesses and stuff.
Okay.
But see, in Chattanooga, they have a mandatory mask required anytime you go in and anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to Sam's down there, and I went to a few other places in Chattanooga, because I'm from Cleveland, and they just look at me when I walk in the door, and I just wave at them and keep on going.
Yeah, nobody's going to say anything mean to the delivery guy.
Right.
He's bringing good stuff.
Yeah, you don't want
I'm
to cut
talking
you off.
about when I'm out shopping.
Gotcha.
During the week. We went to Red Lobster the other day, and I walked in, and they looked at me and said, "You're supposed to wear a mask." I said, "No, I've got health reasons. I don't wear one," and just walked on to my table.
That was it. All right. Excellent advice. Anything else you want to share, Alan?
Nope, that's good.
Good call,
you have
man.
a great day.
All right. Thanks for your service out there. I appreciate it. We got Larry. He's on the line in Indiana, watching us on YouTube. Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, people think it's funny, when they say that they're trying to get around these regulations that they're putting in place. But here's what it's going to boil down to is that when you have a workplace, right, they'll send somebody in there to check and see if your employees are wearing masks, right? And if they're not doing it, then the officials will come in, test everybody in your building, and if one person tests positive, they quarantine the whole place for 14 days. And shut your business down.
Is this happening in Indiana?
It's happening in Indiana. They've already fined people $1,000 fine for the first time, $10,000 for the next time. So they've got this one venue that they've already fined $1,000. They fined some hairdressers $1,000, which put them out of business.
Sure.
And they're allowing our downtown to be overrun by homeless people, and it's just a mess down there. Human waste all over the place.
Oh, God.
Buildings boarded up. And I think why they're doing it, guys, is to get federal money because they've concentrated the homeless. And they're doing the census right now, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
They're building all these big high-rise condos and stuff right downtown, and they want to include the homeless people in the count so they can get the money off of their backs before they boot them out. So
it's an interesting
I
theory.
just think that it's just true, but I think it's really terrible because our moratorium on on utility cutoffs ends Friday, right?
Ooh,
and the
okay.
eviction ends Friday too. And the governor got on and laughed and joked. He's a dimwit anyway. It looks like Family Guy. But he got on there laughing and joking about him and the people. You'll have to find some other way to pay it. And, all these people are going to get dumped in the street because they haven't been paying their rent. They haven't been paying their utility bills. And
There's,
then they're
I think
gonna
I saw a
call
story
you.
that 1 out of 4 Americans missed a bill payment in the last month or quarter.
You know what the real crime is going to be? Is when you find out that you thought you had unlimited data, right? And you were not going to have to pay for it. But you had to pay. They're going to start charging. And just think of all the data bills that have been run up, and your internet's going to get cut off. So you're a slave to them, too, even the people that have government phones. What's going to happen is they're going to get charged for all the data they use from watching porn or whatever else they watch. It's true, it is.
Oh, of course
But
it is. And now they can
whatever
watch
else
it even
they watch-
easier because they're at home. They're not even at the office
I know,
now.
and then they get unlimited porn, and then you're going to run up a heck of a data
Well,
bill.
the good news is a
and you're
lot
gonna
of
be
internet
tagged.
is uncapped, or at least supposedly is uncapped, although a lot of them have been wanting to pass that. Larry, thank you for the call tonight. I do appreciate it. There are some internet companies that would love to charge by the gigabyte, but it's just there's enough competition, I think, out there to where they just don't think they can get away with it.
Yeah, there are certainly plans that you can get by the gig, but yeah.
But not usually for home internet. It's very uncommon.
No, that's
You're talking about cell phone.
I was that way under
satellite, maybe.
Yeah, satellite a long time ago.
But your DSL, your typical cable connections, if there's a cap, it's so high that almost no one would ever encounter it. Southwest Airlines, according to CNN, removed a passenger and her 3-year-old son from a Monday flight after the boy, who has autism, refused to wear a face mask.
Oh, boy.
Does he hate his grandmother? And he got upset. I'll
bet he did.
Passenger Alyssa Sadler, who was traveling with a 1-year-old daughter as well, told CNN affiliate KPRC
Did they not remove the 1-year-old daughter from
that
the plane?
family was
She wasn't
deplaned.
mentioned.
The family was deplaned from the Southwest flight from Midland to Houston, Texas. She said it was just not a good morning. He was screaming, throwing a fit. He was screaming, no, no, no. I'll tell you a little bit more about this. Why did they remove this child from the airplane? Well, it's because of their new no-tolerance policy that I mentioned to you earlier. 855-450 free. No medical exemptions allowed, apparently, on Southwest. At least that's what they were reporting.
Maxwell, he was scratching and losing some hair. My vet, she says, oh, he must be allergic to chicken. Another vet said, eat the drain. Third vet says it's the weather. Then somebody said, DINOVITE.com. It took 2 weeks, and the dog stopped itching. The hair stopped falling out. The Dinovite is a big part of Maxwell's diet.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be. DINOVITE.com.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
Got shaving irritation? Shave Secret shaving oil can help stop it. Shave Secret doesn't cost much and is an all-American product. My name is Chuck Howard, and I developed Shave Secret and pioneered its use starting back in 1991. Ingrown hairs drove me nuts for years. Shaving oil changed all that. Why put up with ingrown hair, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts? Shave Secret provides men and women with what we believe is the best shave ever. Our proprietary blend of 100% natural base and essential oils plus a hint of menthol was designed to help eliminate shaving irritations like ingrown hairs, bumps, red rash, nicks, and cuts. We'll lose those shaving irritations. Available at Super Walmart, H-E-B, Wegmans, Giant Eagle, Discount Drug, Navy and Marine Exchanges, Amazon, and ShaveSecret.com. Use the code FTL for Free Talk Live and get a discount. Shave Secret, the best shave ever.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Just take control of the airwaves at 855-450 free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms, discord.lrn.fm. I want to say thanks to Seehaw, who is a Free Talk Live silver amplifier, meaning that Seehaw is contributing $5 a month to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It is a way for you to help us get Free Talk Live on more radio stations, which we can do. There's probably a few hundred more that we could theoretically add. We have close to 200 now. We're at the 195 range. So if you want to help us do that, please join AMP at amp.freetalklive.com. It's amp.freetalklive.com. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And Tyler.
And Mark.
And again, it's only $5 a month. You can use credit card, debit card, PayPal, Bitcoin, BTC. So do like Seehaw did. Join up over at amp.freetalklive.com. You get some cool bennies for doing that. We're going to go back into your calls, but just a little bit more about what happened on the flight within Texas. It was actually inter-Texas, flying from Midland, Texas to Houston, Texas on a Southwest Air flight. A little boy, 3 years old, he would not wear a mask. He has autism. And so because he wouldn't wear a mask and became upset about being forced to, or, people pressuring
as somebody
him,
with autism is likely to do,
he said, no, no, no. And they said, you're off this plane. The mom, Melissa Sadler, told KPRC her son has a sensory processing disorder and doesn't like his face being touched, and that she had a medical note.
That just sounds normal.
Yeah,
he likes their face being touched.
Right, she had a medical note explaining the condition. Sadler added the family previously had been able to fly from Houston to Midland without an issue. They were visiting her husband, who's working in Midland. The Monday flight had left the gate in Midland, but the plane turned around when it became clear the child was not going to wear a mask during the journey. Southwest Airlines has a strict mask policy that requires all passengers 2 and older to wear a mask or face covering for the duration of the flight.
Yeah, I think this is mud in their eye when it comes to this policy of theirs. I mean, you now have an autistic 3-year-old boy with a note from his doctor causing everybody to be late.
Well, he could have the coronavirus and kill somebody's grandmother. I mean, we can't just allow some child on an airplane.
If that was their concern, they wouldn't get in a giant metal tube and fly 30,000 feet where there's no air.
Well, that's the thing. They can do it because they're not second-class citizens. It's the people who won't wear the masks that are second-class citizens. And so now, if you won't wear a mask, you got to drive. Sorry. Now, maybe there are some airlines that'll allow you to do it because we only reported initially on American Airlines and Southwest, and that's why the mom was surprised, right? Mom was surprised. She's been able to fly with her son prior to this one flight. Why did this change? Well, their policy changed in late July.
Well, their policy isn't a Supreme Court ruling.
No, but it's their policy.
I understand it's their policy, and sometimes companies in this world and in this country are told to take their policy and shove them right up their old intake valve, right?
And that may happen here. Who knows?
Right. And what I'm thinking is that the delivery driver who we just talked to, who mentions the Americans with Disabilities Act, and the American with Disabilities Act is unique in so much as it is something that's enforced through lawsuits. So, I have never seen anybody get a ticket for parking in ADA places, in
those are state enforced.
Maybe that is. Well, how about this?
And yes, they do ticket.
There are outlines on how many handicap spots you need to have out in front of your business.
There's a percentage of whatever, yeah.
Right. But that's only enforced through precedent.
Okay.
So it's not like when you go and build or anything like that, the town's going to come out and say, you don't have enough, you can't open up. That is, or the federal government certainly isn't going to do it. That's something that's happened over time with, we decided that you need this many and they have to be this big and that kind of thing. So people in ramps and all this stuff, all that stuff is based on lawsuits.
And libertarians are generally against that. I'd like to point that out, right? Because it's a bunch of bureaucrats telling you how you got to run your business and the things that you have to put into your business because they said so, because one crippled person is enough of an excuse for you to have to do all kinds of ridiculous renovations.
But the person who has disabilities is the one who has to sue. They have standing.
I understand that.
So they have to put skin in the game. They have to go waste time, and it's like...
Well, they'll find an attorney.
Oh, yeah. Well, that'll do it for them, but it's going to cost something.
In some cases,
at least up front.
There are attorneys who are disabled who manage to make this a living.
Oh, yeah.
They go around and find all the little things that some commercial property owner has done wrong.
We should have known that these mask exemption things weren't going to last, the medical exemption, because I think I saw an article saying Connecticut is now saying you have to have proof to declare a medical exemption, right?
Yes, they are.
And even if enough people wanted to file lawsuits.
Wait a minute. Just to clarify, you have to have a note from a doctor, basically, which doesn't mean that it has to say what your problem is. So they're still technically within the code or within the whatever they call it, the privacy law with HIPAA.
Yeah.
So they're technically supposedly still within HIPAA because all they're saying is, do you have your hall pass from your doctor?
Right, a hall pass. Yeah.
Right. In this case, if that young, if it had been another airline, the kid would have been fine, and we wouldn't be reading a national news story about a 3-year-old with autism kicked off a plane who has a doctor's note.
The face mask policy was originally introduced in early May, and starting July 27th, the airline introduced mandatory face coverings with, quote, no exemptions, unquote, apart for children under 2 years old. And we reported on this when it happened, that this is now, no medical exemptions. If you got a medical exemption, they want you to drive or hitch a ride or walk or
another
whatever.
Interesting part of this is that the birth date was reported by the parents
of the child.
Yes,
so they could have claimed
there
it was
is no ID, right? So she could have told a lie,
but that only lasts for so long. At some point they're not going to believe he's 2 anymore.
Well, and she probably didn't think that she needed to, because it's such an obscene rule.
It's
like you're
it's
one
obscene,
kid on a plane,
yeah,
and you guys are already hurting as an airline.
Right. She probably thought, someone will show compassion towards my son.
Nope. Somebody will be reasonable.
The airline said if a customer cannot wear a mask for any reason, Southwest will, quote, be unable to transport the individual, unquote. The carrier added that in those instances, a full refund will be issued, and that they, quote, hope to welcome the customer on board in the future.
I'm sure they can hope all they want, but now this family and people who, that are moved by this story are going to be saying to themselves, Southwest is a bunch of jerks.
if they say public health guidance regarding face coverings changes. So they're blaming it on the government. They're saying here, look.
Well, then how come all the
says,
other airlines can do it? That sounds like a cop-out of the highest degree.
Are they?
We have read on the air that
we read about 2 of them.
Yeah, those are the major ones.
We read about 2 of them that are not allowing medical exemptions, but in that article there were some other suggestions that maybe some other airlines also were doing similar things. So I don't know what the current status is of all the major airlines out there, but it would be interesting if somebody did know that, or if there was some sort of a breakdown out there on where's the best place to fly if you don't want to wear a mask. Mm-hmm. And if you've got some experience with it, get on the phones, let us know. Maybe you just got off an airplane tonight. You're just getting in your car, putting the key in the ignition, and you're tuning in, and you're like, oh, yeah, I was just on JetBlue. Well, I'll tell you, when I saw a photo of JetBlue like 2 months ago, it was a sea of those shields. So they weren't wearing the medical masks. They were wearing the shield that sort of wraps around with plastic all around your whole face. It was a sea of them. Photo of the inside of the plane. 855-450 free, like freedom. You can join us here. Take control of the airwaves. This is Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. Goldman Sachs warns that the U.S. dollar is on the path to lose world reserve currency status. Experts say that Bitcoin will continue to rise to as much as $20,000 this year. Coinbase reports more institutional investors are buying cryptocurrency. Cashgames.bitcoin.com announces a $3,000 leaderboard tournament. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com. Divi's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divi's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to diviproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from diviproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. diviproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa. Hey. Who do you think you are? Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Holy crap.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
Property.
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? You're
Democrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free. Bring up anything that you want. Our number here, it's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Would you like more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Well, with AnyPay, you can make it happen. And if you do, then you can also earn passive income for every purchase made in Bitcoin Cash and Dash at those businesses. It's thanks to the AnyPay Ambassador Program. Now, AnyPay, you can get started by downloading the AnyPay Cash Register app over on the Google or Apple app stores. Actually, they renamed it recently. It's just AnyPay now because they got like the trademark or something like that for AnyPay. But you can still, I think, search for AnyPay Cash Register, and I think it'll still come up. AnyPayInc.com is where you can go to learn more about what they're doing at AnyPay. They got some really cool stuff they're working on behind the scenes right now, and I'm looking forward to announcing it hopefully within the next couple of weeks. I don't want to tease too much because, you know, if I let on too far, it'll end up getting pushed back, and I don't want to go further than that. But I'm excited about what they're up to.
We are, however, on the podcast putting AnyPay updates at the end of the show.
Yeah, they did one recently, right?
Right. They've done two now. I had just uploaded another.
Oh, cool.
And so, you know, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow, maybe the next night, we'll have it added on there. And it's so well, they're so well done.
Well, of course, Derek J. I mean,
so well done.
He does excellent things. So, by the way, Derek J's coming out here to Keene this weekend. He's going to be at the Mask Freedom event happening on Saturday. It's going to be attracting people from all over, I think, the region.
Is he sitting in the show?
Don't have any plans for that. No, he hasn't said anything to me about that. I don't think we have an open seat, but it's always great to see Derek J. I was just pointing out he's going to be hanging out in Keene on Saturday because of the mask protest. So he's coming out to get his hair cut at the new Keene Barber that is now taking cryptocurrency here in town, which is right next to a yogurt and ice cream place that is now taking cryptocurrency here in town, which is right next to the Corner News, which has been taking cryptocurrency for most of the last decade. So there's actually a whole block. It's a small block, only 3 businesses, but all three out of 3 businesses on that block are all taking cryptocurrency, which is pretty cool. So check out AnyPayInc.com. Those guys are doing some awesome work, and all those businesses here in Keene are taking it with AnyPay. They're using the AnyPay software. AnyPayInc.com. We go to your calls and thoughts. Bob is in Illinois, listening on the radio. Bob, where are you in Illinois?
Springfield.
All right, welcome, sir. You're on the air.
Yes, I've got 2 questions for you, sir.
Yeah.
And first of all, this Ian?
It's me. Yep. Mm-hmm.
I love your show. I miss nobody. I love listening to him.
Well, don't you worry. He'll be back tomorrow night.
All right. Now I've got 2 questions, and then I'll get off here. First of all, how can Kamala Harris be called an African American? Her father was born in Jamaica, and I forgot where her mother was born, but it wasn't Africa.
I think she's Indian.
Yeah, India. Okay. Yeah, yes. Okay, but they're calling her an African American. That's my first question. How can they call her that?
I'll answer that question from what I understand. We asked a gentleman who called this show probably a decade ago, what's your preference, right? Because he sounded black, and so we, went out on a limb and asked him, and he said he just prefers to be called black. So I think a lot of people on the left, they presume when they see a dark-skinned person that person must be from Africa or originally from Africa or whatever. And so they are trying to be sensitive or whatever. Sure. And so they use the term, they've been trained to use the term African American rather than asking somebody if they have a preference and what that preference is. They sort of reflexively do that.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think it's a bunch of people being namby-pamby about it all. At some point or another, we're going to be bogged down by the verbiage to the point that people are going to be like, I just can't speak this language anymore. Instead of saying black, which is a nice short one-syllable terminology. Admittedly, it has a hard K on the end. It could sound rough to the bedwetters out there. I gotcha. But, American of sub-Saharan African descent is a little wordy.
Don't forget your pronouns, he, her, his, or whatever.
Right. And, whatever the preference is. I mean, it just gets so dizzying in order to be politically correct. And I know we're not supposed to use that term anymore either. But
we're not supposed to say politically correct?
And the funny thing is that right, because if you say politically correct, you're only going after you're only attacking whatever is politically correct. So therefore, you must be a bigot. And the thing is I don't even know which side cares about Kamala Harris's race more. Is it the Democrats that care the more, or is it the Republicans? I don't even have an answer for you. As far as I'm concerned, she's just a lady who locks a bunch of people up. She's another authoritarian. She was also ran in the Democratic Party. They wanted to push her. Hey, look, we have a woman of color. So what? Says their voters. They didn't care, but somehow they're gonna. Okay, part two, the Veep.
I'm going to bring Bob back on. I'm sorry, Bob. I had to put you on hold there. There was just too much noise coming from your phone. I think you were breathing into it. Go ahead.
I said I totally agree with what you just said. I believe it's just a ploy to get more votes on one side. But I believe if you're born in America, you're just an American.
I think that's a nice thing. I like human beings, too. I don't like the whole idea of breaking people down by race. What was your other question, though, Bob? You had another one?
Yes, I did.
Go ahead.
Now they're wanting to take kids back into schools, young children, and put masks on them. Hell, I've raised children. I can't even, when I send them outside, they won't even keep their shoes on. Now, how are these kids going to keep masks on their face?
Well, that's a great question. They are being indoctrinated, Bob, and thank you for the call tonight. I definitely appreciate hearing from you. There is a high level of indoctrination going on with young children and wearing these masks. There's a lot of parents who are telling their kids they got to wear their masks, and you're little Johnny, you're going back to school, you got to mask up. It's the new policy. You don't want to get in trouble. And I've actually got a whole article here, which I don't know if we're going to get into it, but about in New Hampshire, some of the schools are getting ready to go back into session and or are actually going into session. And there's just this photograph that just, to me, it's just so sad on the front of this story from Foster's Daily Democrat, where there's two little boys, they got their backpacks on, they both got masks on, and it's a nice summer day, and they're both standing out in front of the schoolhouse with what appears to be some bureaucrat or their mother handing them what appears to be, hand sanitizer. So, okay, boys, here you go. You got to get your hand sanitizer on before you touch the door to the school, and then don't forget you sanitize your hands before you go into every class.
I'm all for more clean hands in this world. And remember, schools were cesspits of infection before COVID.
Yeah.
And
you know what? We all survived it.
Well, not all of us did.
All of us who are alive survived it by definition.
Yes, but all of us who survived it.
That's what I'm saying. All of us survived it. I don't know a single kid who died in elementary school from having not cleaned his hands.
You don't know, but spinal meningitis is real, right?
Yeah, sure.
And the flu is real.
So is the chicken pox.
The flu probably killed more people. And the flu certainly killed more kids.
And I don't care if it did, because I don't want to tell people that they need to be hand sanitizing every action that they take, that whenever they open a door.
I'm going to tell people right now, shut down every institution. Shut them down. We do not need to collect kids in classrooms 30 deep.
But they're gonna keep doing it.
Washing your hands is great, right? These kids should be washing their hands anyway. In fact, what we all should be doing is just washing our hands more and forget about the masks. But the mask part of it, it's like schools are already dystopian enough. It's like you have to stand in lines, listen to bells. You don't, put your head down on your desk and blah blah blah. Now you got masks and you're taking away these children's individuality.
Absolutely,
it's disgusting.
And schools have been taking away individuality for a long time. So masks are just the most recent component to that. Mm-hmm. But some schools, for instance, have uniforms where that's the whole point, is to take away individuality. In fact, the argument for uniforms by those who support the uniforms is that they don't want children to be individuals. They want them to not have different clothing on. Because your clothing shows your status, and we don't want the children to know who's got more wealth, or there's all these excuses for why
everybody's got to wear a Chairman Mao suit to school.
Well, in some cases, they've got mandatory hairstyles, like military academies or whatever. You always have to have the same haircut. Again, it de-individualizes people with those circumstances. And so, yeah, I don't disagree that washing your hands is a good thing, but being obsessive about it, I don't think is a good thing. To some extent, it's not a bad thing to get a little bit of dirt in your life. You need it. Yeah, so get some germs in your life. Build your immune system. 855-450 free, but this thing's going to turn out a bunch of pussy kids. More coming up.
Are you a business owner that needs a large supply of face masks?
Do you have a large family and need a large supply of face masks?
And want high quality but not high prices? Then you want sunny-bay.com.
Our face masks are a better quality than Costco and lower price than Amazon.
There's none better than sunny-bay.com.
See for yourself. Go to sunny-bay.com and place your order today.
Again, business owners, large families, and anyone who needs a large supply of quality disposable face masks. Click sunny-bay.com.
Be sure and look for our volume discounts.
Our high-quality cloth face masks are handmade in the USA.
We also have N95 masks.
See our quality, get details, and order at sunny-bay.com, a Biomed DB design company.
Remember, volume discounts for large quantities at sunny-bay.com.
Just click sunny-bay.com.
I'm here with Scott Useum, founder of OMG Tax. Tell us how your company helps our listeners out there who have a problem with the IRS.
My team of lawyers, enrolled agents, and licensed tax experts remove wage garnishments sometimes in the same day. We even have reduced the total debt some of our clients were required to pay through what is known as an offer in compromise.
Can you give us an example of somebody you help?
Oh, can I ever? We have taken a $500,000 liability with the IRS. Guess what? The client didn't pay a dime through the representation known as non-collectible status with the government.
If you owe the IRS more than $10,000 and you want to see if it's possible to pay a lot less, call OMG Tax right now for a free tax-saving consultation.
Call 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. 800-486-8112. That's 800-486-8112.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
Should you be able to earn an honest living free from senseless government interference? The Institute for Justice thinks so. That's why we've spent years defending hard-working men and women from pointless government regulations. Nationwide, IJ has created opportunity by reducing government power, but there is still more work to be done. Visit our website today at ij.org. Let IJ take care of the government so you can take care of your business.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Talk Live toll-free number if you want to join us and comment on whatever's on your mind. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. And yes, you can sign up for the Free Talk Live email list. You can go to freetalklive.com. It's pretty much on every page of the site, usually down towards the bottom of the page. So go and get signed up for that, and we'll keep you in the loop with the things going on with Free Talk Live when you need to know them. So we continue with you in the studio. It's Ian,
Tyler,
and Mark.
Right back into your calls and thoughts. Mike is in North Carolina listening online. Go ahead, Mike.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
What's
I talked to you guys a couple nights ago.
Welcome back.
About the incident in Madison with the police department attacking me and the wife in the parking lot.
Can you recap briefly for our listeners just tuning in?
Yeah, so we were just enjoying some couples time, and we're in church parking lot. Cop came up, demanded ID, and threatened to smash the window. He did about 25 threats, eventually pulled it out.
When you say you were enjoying some couples time in the church parking lot, do you mean that
you have
were
your pants on?
Yeah.
Yeah, pants were on. We were just talking.
Okay, you just yeah, right. No, just for our listeners, when you called the first time about it, you mentioned that you'd literally just pulled into this parking lot. You weren't there for very long at all before two cop cars pulled in. All right, go ahead.
Yeah, so they eventually arrested me because I wouldn't give them ID, and that case is still pending. The DA is pursuing it, and what we need help with is it's supposed to be adjudicated on the 19th, which is Wednesday, here in Rockingham County, North Carolina.
Oh, you were the blind guy. That's right. You Blind Justice was your YouTube channel. Actually, we went there looking for the video. I guess you hadn't posted it yet. Has it been posted since then?
No, it's there. It's the might be the pinned one. It's the one from Madison. It's on the 21st of February. Anyway, the issue we're having now is I made a ADA request with the judge to allow me to go to my court case with my vision aids. So I have different things that help me navigate and help read documents and different things like that. Mm-hmm. And the judge sent a letter saying that if I show up to court with my vision aids, that they will hold me in contempt and arrest me.
That's bizarre.
Wow.
Yeah. So right now I'm kind of damned if I do, damned if I don't. They're threatening to arrest me, of course, if I don't show up. And now they're threatening to arrest me if I do show up and demand to have equal access as a blind person.
What's their justification for that? Did they give it to you?
No. So they're required to in writing, according to the ADA. They're supposed to have it in writing, explaining how it's an undue burden or a fundamental change to their policy or the way they do process. And it's not like simply me having a camera or me be taking audio notes or video notes is not a change of their. It doesn't affect them. Like they can still adjudicate and do how they want.
I think you've got these guys on the ropes. I mean, they've just violated the ADA, the American with Disabilities Act, and that means that that means big old fines.
Oh yeah. So it's Judge Freeman, and right now, I'm planning on attending, and we'll find out if they're going to arrest me at the courthouse steps and hold me in contempt or whatnot. But yeah.
I love this guy. He is a rabble-rouser, and we were really enjoying some of your videos as we were watching him during the breaks. This guy is awesome. I mean, he's a blind guy who just stands up for his rights, and it's pretty inspiring, I think, what you do.
Appreciate it. Yeah, just letting you guys know, the August 19th, this coming Wednesday, I stand on the rights, stand on the disability rights, and we'll find out if they're going to beat me up and throw me to the ground again like they did
How often, you obviously have a camera operator or an editor because, it's probably pretty hard to edit video as a blind guy. So there's clearly somebody who's helping you out. Is it like your girlfriend or wife or?
Yeah, it's the wife. Yeah, the same one that is in that video where she was terrified, man. She was scared to death when that guy was threatening to smash the window in her face. So.
Yeah, that's the one video that we didn't notice there. There's one on your channel with the Madison Town Hall that looks like you just streamed it live within the last hour, but prior to that, there's nothing in the last 4 days. So I don't know if that video that you're referring to is actually there.
It's back from February 21st. It's probably titled something like Kidnapped Again.
Okay. I thought it had just gone down when you had called us. I apologize. Okay, so Kidnapped
it's just
Again.
Now getting through the courts. Yeah,
I got you. Okay. Well, now we'll know where to look better. Okay, I can see it here. Kidnapped Again, February 21st. There it is. Okay, cool. I'll make a note on that. Mike, keep us in the loop as to what goes on. Are you able to get video cameras into courthouses?
You can't bring a visual aid with a camera.
Yeah, that's what the thing is. They're trying to lock it down. North Carolina is pretty tyrannical with body cam and anything from the police or any law enforcement here. They say it's not a public record, so it's crazy.
We need to get you up here to New Hampshire, man. It's things are a lot more interesting up here. You can get cameras into courts, or at least previous to COVID, you could. I don't know what's going to happen. It's actually, I'm going to be at a courthouse on the 19th as well, because they're having their first trial here. That they haven't had a single trial in New Hampshire, the whole state of New Hampshire, for what, 3, 4, 5 months or something. 5 months, I think, since basically March. And so they're going to have their first one on August 19th. So I'm going to be there for that. I'm going to be doing jury outreach on that particular day because it's the first time I've been able to do that in months. And I also want to go observe the trial. I want to go observe the jury selection as a member of the so-called public, as a member of the so-called media. I want to go there and observe this, and we will see what happens. So maybe we'll both have some things to report on the 19th.
Jury nullification. Yeah, spread the word.
Thanks, Mike. Will do. I appreciate it. Good luck out there to you as well. Thanks for the call tonight. Let's go to Kirby in Indiana. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Kirby.
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
Hey, what's up?
Mark, you asked, you didn't know who Kamala Harris's skin color mattered to the most?
Who does
Black
it?
folks.
You think it?
We will vote for anybody who we think looks like us. We don't care about her record. But when she was DA in California, black folks couldn't stand her. White folks couldn't stand her. But now, because she's running for president or vice president,
maybe president,
folks will ignore. Yeah, quite possibly president. Yeah, because old Joe ain't gonna last but 18 months.
We don't know if he's going to last the Democratic convention.
I can't say what I wanted to say. I'm going to keep my mouth shut. But there is a website called KamalaHarris.info. Believe it or not, you cannot post that link on Facebook.
Yep.
It has been blocked.
What?
That is voter support. Yes,
I've heard blocked.
That.
Yeah,
if you go to that site right now and try to post something from there onto Facebook, it's not going to allow it. Now,
these
to
are the
me,
same
that's
people.
voter suppression.
It's the same people behind the Joe Biden site, the joebiden.info, where it's got all the videos of him like inappropriately touching and sniffing small children.
Well, that's why I picked Kamala Harris. She smells the best.
Yeah, she probably does smell good, but
Kamala Harris. It says right here when you go to KamalaHarris.info, the headline, Kamala Harris for arresting the people. Kept nonviolent criminals in jail to put out forest fires. When federal judges in California wanted to expand their prisoner release program for nonviolent criminals, Kamala Harris's lawyers argued against it. Her lawyers claimed that releasing them would cause prisons to lose an important pool of forced labor for putting out California's wildfires, for which prisoners only get paid $1 an hour.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and then there's
and so we're going to elect a slaver and his favorite slave catcher.
Yep, things they haven't changed very much. Thank you, Kirby. Great call. Always appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, but so many people are going to try their hardest to ignore all of this information about this woman.
Imagine the pain you've experienced, whether that pain real or whatever you care about that pain. Imagine the pain you've experienced in order to simply vote for somebody based on their skin color. Like, I can't imagine. I've never, been in a situation like that where I would make a judgment about somebody based on their skin color.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's tokenism, right? Like, what's her track record? She was a prosecutor.
She was an attorney general.
Was she?
She was the top cop in California.
Top cop.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I mean, I still don't know if that's enough experience to be like, this was the best pick. It wasn't the best pick. This was the pick that was a female who was also a minority, and that's why he picked her. And the fact that doesn't bother people, it should bother them. Like, it's just tokenism. We should be picking people based on their character, not identity politics and just trying to fill check marks in the box.
Well, but all of their characters are awful. I mean, they're just all terrible human beings. She's just one of the worst.
Very true.
By the way, Mark, I did at the very end of that story about the Southwest Airlines kicking the 3-year-old boy and his family off because he is autistic and refused to wear a face mask, even though they had a doctor's note, because Southwest Airlines is now saying it doesn't matter if you have a doctor's note, you're not welcome on our airlines, and that's what U.S. or American Airlines says. CNN Travel points out that many U.S. airlines are taking taking a hard line on masks, with carriers including Delta, American Airlines, and United adopting a policy of banning passengers from future flights if they fail to wear a mask. Now, that doesn't mean they have the medical exemption or not.
Right.
But
that's the important part of this. I understand that you can't just wander onto an airplane and say, I'm here for mask freedom, and get to sit down.
Yeah.
But, if you're a 3-year-old autistic boy who's got a note from his doctor...
You're not flying on Southwest.
They turn the plane around.
And you're not flying...
I think there's a suit.
...on American. And maybe there will be a suit, and we'll see how it goes if that happens. But in the meantime, they're not going to let you fly. There's more coming up here. It's Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. Local.bitcoin.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It's bad for our country. I'm Lisa Lacera, Fox News. That's what President Trump is saying about presumptive Democratic presidential nominee Joe Biden's call for a nationwide mandate to wear masks for the next 3 months.
He wants to shut down our economy, close our schools, and grind society to a halt. And he wants it done by a federal decree. This would lead to a crippling long-lasting depression.
And the president says Biden doesn't identify the authority the president has to put a national mask mandate in place. Biden made the comments this afternoon after he and running mate Kamala Harris met with health experts.
When I get occasionally confronted with a person in the public about wearing a mask, I say, look, this is America. Be a patriot. Protect your fellow citizens. Protect your fellow citizens. Step up. Do the right thing.
Biden says he was told a mask mandate could save 40,000 lives. The latest Fox News poll shows the gap narrowing between the two candidates.
49% of registered voters polled said if the election were held today, they'd go with Joe Biden. 42% said they would pick President Trump. That 7% difference is down from the 12-point gap that there was in June. 54% disapprove of the job the president's doing. Half of voters approve of his handling of the economy, but there's more disapproval than approval on all other topics. 54% disapprove of his handling of the virus. The same number feel the federal government just didn't do enough about it. 85% of those polled say they're concerned about the virus spreading, and 3/4 of voters are in favor of a mask requirement. Jessica Rosenthal, Fox News.
The president tells the New York Post he will give the Republican nomination speech from the White House lawn. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 is serving challenges left and right, but your small business still has goals to hit. Even though you have less resources to work with, you need to keep finding and hiring the best. Indeed is here to help. Indeed.com is the #1 job site in the world because Indeed gets you the best people fast. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need. You can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. Plus, Indeed provides powerful tools to make your search that much easier, like sponsored jobs, which are shown to be 3.5 times more likely to result in a hire. With 73% of online job seekers visiting Indeed each month, Indeed is going to get you the important hire you need, just like they have for over 3 million businesses. Right now, Indeed is offering our listeners a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Try Indeed out with a free $75 credit at Indeed.com/Fox. This is their best offer available anywhere. Go right now to Indeed.com/Fox. Terms and conditions apply. Offer valid through September 30th.
An immigration operation in Oregon took a turn when protesters blocked buses for nearly 12 hours to stop officials from detaining at least 2 people.
Immigration and Customs Enforcement was doing a special operation going after criminal aliens who had committed domestic violence. They had made 2 arrests in Bend, Oregon when things went sideways. Immigration activists got wind of the operation, found the buses the detainees were on, then surrounded them for almost 12 hours, demanding the men be released. The ICE agents were also inside the buses. Bend police showed up, but much later, after the crowd had grown to several hundred people, more than a dozen Border Patrol agents arrived and started using pepper spray so they could get the people off the buses. A source tells me both illegal immigrants have convictions for domestic violence. One has multiple convictions, and both had been previously deported back to their home in Mexico.
Fox's Dan Springer. A New Orleans federal appeals court has upheld the constitutionality of the all-male military draft, citing a 1981 U.S. Supreme Court decision and saying it's only the high court that can reverse its precedent. The U.S. government stopped drafting young men into the military in 1973, but every male must still register for the draft when he turns 18. A high-ranking State Department officials in Lebanon a week after Beirut was rocked by an explosion.
Undersecretary for Political Affairs David Hale says the FBI is joining the investigation into the blast that killed more than 170 people and injured thousands more. This is the U.S. sends humanitarian aid. Pentagon spokesman Jonathan Hoffman.
The U.S. CENTCOM's been sending aircraft with relief supplies, including food, water, medical supplies.
The Lebanese government has said unsafely stored ammonium nitrate is to blame. The FBI is joining the probe at the invitation of Lebanese authorities. Rachel Sutherland, Fox News.
The Dow lost 80 points. I'm Lisa Lacera. This is Fox News.
Big tech news this week as Microsoft has unveiled its new generation Xbox One. Designers say the console's revolutionary new voice command feature makes it easier than ever for the Xbox to control its users. According to Microsoft spokesman Don Matrick, quote, the Xbox One is programmed with a host of simple voice commands that you will respond to instantly. In addition to phrases like jump, shoot, and insert game disc, users will also understand more complicated instructions like download Call of Duty Update or come into the room and turn on Xbox.
The Xbox One tells us what games to play, what music to listen to, what shows to watch.
Watch TV.
And with that simple command, I'm watching live TV.
The new Xbox's high-tech sensors can also detect your expression and tell when you're looking away from the television.
Andy, look back at the TV.
Microsoft says the new Xbox can also command you using your smartphone or tablet. TechBuzz is raving. Quote, it's the immersive obedience experience we've been waiting for.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Dial toll free. Join us on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Tonight it's Ian
and Tyler
and Mark.
Are you afraid to touch cash? Most people would want cash in the past. Like if you were going to offer them some cash, they would take it from you. You know, no strings attached.
I suspect they still will.
But now, according to a recent survey, a story at Fortune magazine, fortune.com, apparently a majority of Americans now fear it. Dirty Money is a popular Netflix documentary, but the term could also be used to describe how many Americans feel about handling cash these days. According to a new survey, 54% of Americans are concerned about touching coins or bills due to COVID, while 60% plan to use so-called touchless payments in the future.
Okay, so I have a couple of thoughts on this. First, there is no level of risk worth touching a penny. It's just not worth it, right? It's not worth bending over to pick up the American 1 cent piece.
You throw your back out.
It's been devalued to the point that, I mean, penny candy when I was a kid was 3 or 5 cents, like really, really young, 3 cents, and then went up to 5 cents. Now penny candy, I mean, my son got a Tootsie Pop, and it was 30 cents.
Jesus.
So that's 10 times if you presumed. I think a Tootsie Pop would have been more, but at least
5 cents.
Right. It's 5 times the value. Yeah. Anyway, this thing is just, I mean, we look at a half penny piece from way back. The reason they had a half penny piece was because you needed it. You needed to be able to exchange half a cent's worth of value. Mm-hmm. Now pennies are only there so that people can make exact change. They cost 4 cents to make.
Have you read this survey? Because you're going to love the next statistic here.
Well, okay, so a penny isn't worth taking. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not taking change at all. They can put it in the little tip jar thing and say, hey, thanks for being open during these uncertain times or whatever, right? Whatever. And now dollars and bills, okay, I'm taking those back.
So the findings are based on, and to be fair, it's an online survey, so it's probably not the most scientific.
Yeah.
But it is conducted by, and it was 600 people, conducted by Rapid, a global payments company spelled RAPYD, backed by digital payment giant Stripe. The survey did find that 45% of Americans want to see pennies phased out.
Oh yeah, it's got to go.
While 5% want all coins to be eliminated.
Yeah, so coins, I don't know why Americans are going after them. I would say...
well, some people need to do their laundry. And apparently that's become quite the challenge for some folks.
See, I feel like it should go the other way. We should be getting rid of dollar bills and replacing them with coins. Coins last longer. It's cheaper to do. Yeah, it costs millions of dollars to print dollars every year.
Now, they do that in Canada, right?
Yeah, they've got toonies. I don't know if they've got anything higher than that.
Yeah.
But, there's no doubt that the way to implement a dollar coin is to simply not give Americans the choice. They're not going to change of their own accord. Hey, would you like the bill or would you like the coin? It's just not going to happen. All right? You also have to eliminate some coins in order to make it make sense in cash registers. So the penny definitely has to go. But as far as I'm concerned, really, ladies and gentlemen, how much worse would your life be if they eliminated the nickel, the dime, and the penny? I mean, really, if they just rounded up or rounded down, come on. Is it that big of a difference? $0.25, I mean, $1 is not worth much of anything. You can't get a candy bar for $1. You cannot walk into a convenience store and buy a candy bar for $1. Only in New Hampshire will you be able to buy a beverage in that convenience store for $1, because most of them the tax goes up. As a matter of fact, I believe the only reason for the pennies is because of the tax, and they can round the prices. I mean, we have calculators.
I'd say the penny and the nickel for sure. The dime can be the new penny. What's wrong with that? Round everything to the 10 cents. Yeah, and it's already the smallest.
Yeah, I think that the problem with keeping the dime is that you can't figure out. Like, there's certain things that it would be difficult to price in certain ways. So whereas you could price things at $1.35, you couldn't price them at $1.05. So the dime is a funny little thing there. You could have a 12.5 cent piece in order to be a half quarter. But I mean, and we already sell. By the way, we sell gallons of gasoline in a world where people talk in liters. We sell gallons of gasoline for $3.09.
I think it's actually $2.09 these days. You're off by $1.
I'm just giving a number.
It's probably California.
It's
$3.
The 9/10 of a cent that's important here.
Yeah.
I mean,
they
we're
round up.
9/10.
Yeah.
So
that allows them to make it look like it's 1 cent less on the sign than it actually
the idea
is.
of a 12.5-cent piece isn't the most radical notion out there. But that's only if you can't live with anything. I mean, you got your quarters, I think, are fine. I mean, because you're only rounding up or rounding down by that same 12.5 cents.
This whole thing with the people saying that cash is dirty, right? First off, to me, well, it is, but to me, it seems like blatant propaganda, right? Because the question itself is loaded. If you ask someone, "Are you concerned about how dirty money is?" Well, immediately they're going to think, "Well, yeah, money's dirty. I guess I shouldn't be touching that." But was it a problem? Ever?
No.
Has there ever been an epidemic started because people were passing around dollar bills from a strip club or something?
Right. Well, I don't know. I can't answer that particular question, but what I can say is that the experts now, when they talk about this disease, they talk about an airborne disease. They don't talk about people getting infections from
surfaces,
which
they were,
and touching
and
things.
They were saying,
they were saying that previously. Look, I'm not claiming to know. I'm just claiming to listen. And what they're saying is that it's all about the mask. Well, fine, then it shouldn't be a problem. And I've been paying in cash. I will continue to use cash. I'm not going to stop using cash because somebody might be scared of it. Figure it out. It's legal tender and for all debts, public and private. If you're going to open your doors, figure out how to take American cash.
Now, the CEO of Rapid did say that COVID has accelerated the trend of Americans ditching cash for other forms of payment, but he says it will take years before the U.S. resembles Asia, where phone-based digital wallets are ubiquitous. He says this is partly due to the large number of Americans who like to pay with cash, as well as the slow process of replacing existing point-of-sale systems, which rely on consumers using physical cards and signing receipts with machines that can read digital wallets like Apple Pay. They point out that the move away from cash could be accelerated by governments around the world using COVID as a pretext to reduce the amount of coins and bills in circulation. In the U.S., the pandemic has already produced a coin shortage, in part due to decreased activity at laundromats, transit facilities, and other places where Americans spend coins. But I don't buy that. It just doesn't make sense. We've covered this before. There was a ton of coins out there before. Why all of a sudden is there a shortage? The fact that people aren't spending is going to cause a shortage? Well, then they would still have all the coins they had previously. So, it doesn't make any sense. It almost seems like it's a plot. It almost seems like they're purposely doing this coin shortage thing. And it's actually made making a trip to the laundromat difficult.
Yes.
We had a guy call in and talk about this, and I've seen stories about it online, where people that actually need coins to go and use them to wash their laundry are having a tough time. They're going to multiple banks asking for coins because they can't get enough of them.
Well, first off, if it's a plot, I finally applaud the United States government. Finally, you've done something right. Use an opportunity. Don't actually let a crisis go to waste. Eliminate these awful things, these worthless bits of metal. When it comes to laundromats, these are just people that did poor planning in the first place. They should have had machines that spit out Chuck E. Cheese tokens that can only be used at their laundromat as opposed to quarters. Then they wouldn't be having this problem.
Yeah.
There's always swiping machines and these kind of things.
Right,
these
cards.
little misers were just sitting around saying, "I'll just continue to use the quarters.
Yep.
What could go wrong?" Well, here you go. You trusted the government and surprise.
They screwed you. Well, now they are saying, apparently, according to another Fortune report, that the U.S. Mint, after scaling back its coin operations in the spring due to health concerns, did return to full production back in June. They're planning to produce 17.8 billion coins by the end of the year, which is 7.4 billion more than last year. So if their plans go as planned, then they should be flooding the market with plenty of
each
more
of them
coins.
will be made of a precious metal. Nickels of nickel again.
No.
Dimes and quarters of
silver,
coin-grade silver.
No, that's not going to happen.
And finally, we will have a $200 gold coin.
Maybe in the timeline where Ron Paul won.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah,
happening.
right? Wonder what that's like right now.
Well,
More coming up. It's Free Talk
better.
Live. We missed the break there because there's no music and there's currently no ads. So hopefully this isn't going on the air, but maybe it is. There is the possibility that we are still on broadcast radio right now, even though we're not supposed to be. So at some point, we'll probably be rudely interrupted by the commercial break. And technically right now, the stuff that we're saying on the air is, if it is on the air on the radio, is actually not on the air in our podcast. So right now, what you're hearing would be an exclusive bit of content. If you're listening on the radio or on our streaming, you are hearing exclusive audio from us here, which is just us talking about how exclusive it is, so it's really not worth listening to.
Is at the forefront of the liberty movement as
We'll be
the
back.
biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com. News from news.bitcoin.com. Goldman Sachs warns that the U.S. dollar is on the path to lose world reserve currency status. Experts say that Bitcoin will continue to rise to as much as $20,000 this year. Coinbase reports more institutional investors are buying cryptocurrency. Cashgames.bitcoin.com announces a $3,000 leaderboard tournament. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You bring up what you want. Take control of the airwaves here. The number is 855-450, free like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in-line rooms. You just go to discord.lrn.fm and you can jump into one of those rooms. You will sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us tonight. It's Ian.
And Tyler.
And Mark.
Want to invite you to Bitcoin.com. You know, we were just talking about Americans being afraid of cash. According to an online survey, over half of Americans say they are afraid to touch cash and coins. Now they're looking into online payments or so-called touchless payments. And you know what? Whether you're actually afraid of COVID or not, you need to look into Bitcoin, because cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is here to stay, and it is touchless. Okay. In fact, it is touchless and it's decentralized, which means that no government is in charge. It is not, they can't stop it. The government can't take it down. It will continue because it's decentralized, and it's amazing. You really ought to look into Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash and a variety of other cryptocurrencies. And Bitcoin.com is a great place to get started doing that. If you got a little bit of time on your hands, go and get started at Bitcoin.com. If you're not new, however, and you want to get the latest news headlines, they've got that too on their news site over at news.bitcoin.com. stopbitcoin.com. We go to your phone calls and thoughts. He is Chris in New Hampshire. You're on Free Talk Live, watching us on YouTube.
Hey, guys, it's Chris from New Hampshire. How's it going?
Chris, what's on your mind?
Hey, I called in last Thursday, and I brought up an idea I had about petitioning the government to remove people's rights to vote once they hit 60.
Great idea.
And it's been a week.
Who else do you want to suppress?
It's been a week, and things haven't gone any better. Bike week in New Hampshire now, people are going to have to wear masks.
I hope they don't.
What are they going to do if they don't? A bunch of bikers are getting together, drinking, and you're going to tell them all that they have to do something? That doesn't sound
It's not going to go well.
I don't think it's going to go very well.
I'm glad I'm not the cop with that job.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how this goes. I've been to Bike Week before. We went down there, a group of the activists from the libertarian community. It was back when they had it the same time as the Porcupine Freedom Festival, so we kind of made a little pilgrimage down there as a group, and then they postponed it this year. So normally it happens in mid to late June. This year it's happening in August. Do you know when it's supposed to start, Chris?
No, and I don't really care either. Unfortunately, I'm not a big biker guy.
Me neither, but I do care about people's rights. So
stuff important.
Yeah, I'm not a biker, but I do care about people's rights. So I do hope that the bikers make a stand, and I hope that they don't wear the masks. Unfortunately, the governor has threatened directly the organizers of Bike Week and any other event that would dare to have 100 people or more gathered in the same place and not have masks on. So they actually won't be ticketing the individual bikers. They will come after the organizers. That's what they're going to do.
Yeah, of course. These plebs, that's all they deserve. So I was thinking, I'm watching the governors from all 50 states unleashing these new powers that I had not known they had before. So I decided after our call last week that I wanted to run for governor in New Hampshire, but I've run out of time. I've run out of time to do it for 2020. Right. So if America is still established by 2022, I'll run for governor of New Hampshire. But this is what I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at, it's a great idea. I would do a lot of great things for the people in New Hampshire. But the chances of America being the same in, 2 years is probably pretty slim. It's like you have two options. You can vote Democrat if you're prepared for a civil war immediately. And you got all your stuff, your ducks are all lined up, you've been prepping, you were that doomsday prepper that was made fun of, and you're all ready to go. Or you could vote Republican if you need a few more months to gather your goods because you were slacking off. So
how does the Civil War look? Because
who's fighting who?
That's a great question. I'm assuming everybody's going to be fighting each other. See, the federal government's done a great job of separating people into little groups, and so each group will have fighting. There'll be some infighting. Even in the Boogaloo movement, there's a bunch of infighting.
Of course.
So I'm just thinking that I'm probably the person to help bring these people together if there is still New Hampshire.
So what is your plan? Are you going to run as a Republican, a Democrat? You're going to try for a third party?
No, actually, I'm going to run as a make-it-up-as-you-go-along-atarian.
Okay.
And I'm just going to base it off of what I've, my own moral beliefs. Yeah. And one of which is making sure that people, once you hit 60, no more voting for you. That's certainly that's first and foremost. And I'm not opposed to giving out pardons if you, let's say, do an act of violence against somebody of the pedophilia fetish. I'm okay with whipping out pardons for that.
Okay.
Sounds like a Maduro move.
Basically,
and that's as a governor, right?
Yeah, governor or King of the North, whatever we're going to call it then.
Okay, we'll call it what you like.
King of the North.
I'm leaning towards King of the North because I'm a nerd and I kind of like the Game of the Thrones thing.
Well, they already call Sununu His Excellency in the governor's orders that he's been issuing. And give us a third issue. Like usually campaigns have three big issues that they're pushing. So what's the third one?
Stand in stark relief.
I have all sorts of issues with how things are going. Like, let's say this, if you are from another state, you're not allowed in New Hampshire. Now, that's not really freedom-oriented, and but I'm okay with that because we'll make it up as you go along.
You got my vote.
All right, Chris. Well, hey, keep us in the loop on this gubernatorial run. Definitely appreciate hearing from you.
I would wonder exactly what the time frame is. I mean, if I'm in New Hampshire today when he disallows people from outside of New Hampshire, or do they go back, to your birth certificate and say, "Oh, sorry, you were born."
I don't know.
I'm sorry, I got rid of him. I wish he could answer that question.
I don't know if I'm necessarily opposed to maybe like building a wall between us and Massachusetts.
Yeah,
That's a good idea.
I'm not just not necessarily opposed.
But then who's going to buy our fireworks and cigarettes?
That's a fair point.
Yep, I hear you. I hear you. Well, maybe an immigration policy.
We'll give them visas.
Let's go to Dave. He's in Michigan.
We'll give them cell phone trackers when they come in.
There
we'll
you
put
go.
the tracking device on the cell phone. You
Dave,
got to get out.
What town are you calling from in Michigan there?
Yeah, right here in Jackson.
All right. Listening to WKHM.
Central
Go ahead.
Michigan. Hey, hello, men.
What's on your mind?
Glad you took my call because
okay. We do that.
We thought about putting a border up with Ohio and Indiana. We had to either take the UP of Michigan or give up the port of Toledo, and by God, we made a good decision there.
Okay.
Anyways, I don't know if I can add much to what you're saying, but I did read that brief article about people don't want to touch cash, but they will punch in a number on a pin machine in a second.
Yep, dirty old pin machines.
The same pin machine that every other person punched in numbers on, right?
Cash, I think somebody from New Hampshire was over here in Michigan, but I punched it in right after him.
That's right. They're just carrying it all over.
Yeah, well, I mean, the ultimate paranoiacs and the germaphobes, I'm sure, have their little spritzer hand cleaner things that they can spray on their hands after they
do that
touch
after they take cash.
Their thing. Yeah, they could. Hey, Dave, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We got more coming up. You can take control of the airwaves here. This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want to work from home, get paid, and forward Liberty all at the same time? Free Talk Live is looking for account executives and appointment setters. If you've got a phone, a computer, internet connectivity, initiative, and a belief in the non-aggression principle, you're qualified. Earn up to $85,000 a year full-time, $25,000 a year part-time. Set your own hours, work from home, spread freedom. Join our team and work with one of the biggest leaders in the Liberty movement. Apply now at sales.freetalklive.com. Sales.freetalklive.com. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with AgristHosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to AgristHosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's AgristHosting.com.
There are basically two types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, Mark at freetalklive.com.
There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Yeah, it's Free Talk Live. You can bring up whatever you want. Just dial in toll free at 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We do have a web forum. You can go to forum.freetalklive.com. It is part of the Shire forums, which is, a larger set of forums. We have one of the sub-forums there because, honestly, people don't care about forums anymore. But I do like the idea of having one just in case we can persuade people to get off these centralized social media platforms. So if you want to take a look and see what's over there, head over to forum.freetalklive.com. In the studio tonight, you've got Ian,
Tyler,
and Mark.
So coming up, it is college season. The fall semester is getting ready to kick off. We got a college here in Keene that's about ready to start going. I think they're going to start the move-in process next week, and college starting in about 10 or 11 days from now. And we've got some ridiculous rules, of course, that are going to be in place on college campuses. We can tell you about some of those coming up here. But first, we're going to your phone calls and thoughts. We actually have people calling in from D-Live. Now, I will remind our D-Live and Twitch viewers and callers that this is a broadcast radio show. So if you say words you can't say on the radio, we have to drop your call, and we'll feel very sad about it because then we have to hit the dump button if you say words you're not supposed to say on the radio. So keep that in mind. When in doubt, leave it out. We're going to bring John on the line in New York, so we'll see how this goes. John, you're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead.
Hi. First-time caller, new to the show.
Welcome.
I see you guys are like a libertarian radio show. I just caught you guys on B-Live.
That is
right?
correct. You are right about that.
Cool. And are you guys, the Trump-supporting type of libertarians, or?
I don't think you could really be a libertarian and support Trump in any sort of meaningful way.
There goes Ian pulling somebody's libertarian card right out of their hand.
I'm not done with my statement. Besides just like for the entertainment value. I mean, Trump isn't a libertarian.
Yeah, thank God.
Right.
So are you guys open borders libertarians?
Well, yeah. I mean, in order to actually care about freedom, you have to care about other people's freedom to go from point A to point B. If they are welcome in both, or in point B, if they're welcome in the destination, they should be able to get to it. Don't you think?
No, I don't. Actually,
No.
I believe in the concept of the nation state.
Oh, so you're a statist. You're an authoritarian.
Yeah, I'm a regular person.
Okay.
Well, for me, it's a stipulation, right? Like, I like the idea of open borders, but that can only happen once the welfare state is removed. If you're going to have a welfare state, then you have to enforce borders. Otherwise, it's a failed model.
Yeah, I'm with that same point. Is that if you can't put out a bowl of food every day and not expect to get stray cats, and yelling at the stray cats isn't the point. It's to stop putting out the bowl of food.
So are you saying
hold on. I'd like to go one more thing. I think it's really important to point out that the Constitution doesn't give the power to the United States federal government to control immigration, only naturalization, and that since I don't support the encroachment of the U.S. federal government into all of the other areas of our lives, I don't support the encroachment of the federal government into that area either.
Actually, immigration and naturalization are from the founding fathers up until about 1965 was in the federal government, in the executive branch, in fact. And from
I don't think immigration appears in the Constitution.
I'm not saying they didn't handle it. I'm saying that it is not written in their document.
It's not constitutional.
If you want to play a game, that's fine, but I'm playing the game called the Constitution, and it's not written in there.
So the first Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1790 was just unconstitutional?
I'm going to have to look that one up. I believe the first immigration restriction was the Yellow Man laws in 1870?
That's absolutely false.
Okay. And what is the name of this act that you're referring to?
The Immigration and Naturalization Act of 1790, passed by the first Congress under the first administration, George Washington, with John Adams as his vice president, declared immigration to be strictly for free Europeans of good character, and they have to live for naturalization under certain rules. I'm not talking about the specifics of it, but I am saying that power was enumerated by the very founding fathers that all the libertarians love with the federal government.
Well, I don't know if I love the founding fathers. I think that they were just the most lucky tyrants around. But
I can tell.
Well, I mean, Lysander Spooner said that the Constitution has either failed to stop these depredations of the government or it has authorized it. Which one do you think it is?
No, I think that the Constitution is built for, as John Adams said, a moral and religious unified people. Same with John Jay, the first Supreme Court justice of
this guy doesn't think they're depredations. He doesn't think they're depredations. He's in favor of the state. He's in favor of authoritarianism.
No, don't.
Yeah, he
is.
is.
Don't put words in my mouth.
You said you were.
Don't put words in my mouth. Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay. You're not in favor of the state?
Listen. I know libertarians love to...
No. I'm asking you a question.
Hold on. No, the degradations that the Constitution has failed to prevent isn't necessarily the Constitution, but it is the nation as a whole. We've become we've become less worthy of the Constitution.
Okay, but are you against the state or in favor of it?
Oh, I'm in favor.
Okay, so you are in favor of the state. So I wasn't putting words in your mouth there.
Yeah,
right.
I'm a regular person.
You're in favor of border enforcement?
Absolutely.
Okay. So, at what level would you like to see border enforcement? It's not enough right now for you, I presume. What would you like to see?
I would love whatever causes a zero illegal immigration and a much reduced legal immigration. If that's a border wall, that's a border wall. If it's heavy, maybe not a wall, but just a presence, from our government, then it's a presence, whatever it is. But this immigration of the past 60 years from 1965 Immigration Act till now is
I'd like to specify here that the 1790 Act is called the Naturalization Act, and it does not refer to immigration into the country. It refers to becoming a citizen and having the ability to vote.
That's the difference between immigration and naturalization.
That's what naturalization means. Naturalization means
So who is allowed to immigrate?
Look, I didn't write the rules, dude.
Anyone could immigrate back then. You could just show up places and they wouldn't know you were there.
Yes, they could. They absolutely could.
You could become a citizen?
No. Why would you want to do that?
That's what the Naturalization Act was, and that's why it's written into the Constitution.
Why would you want to become a citizen?
Why is it a problem to simply say that the United States Constitution doesn't address immigration?
Why would I want to become a citizen of my own country?
Yeah.
Just asked. Man, you'd love to be on American soil, but not a citizen.
Well, it's for the bennies, right? That's what it's about. It's about the benefits. It's what do I get out of it, right? The whole point of being a citizen is because you get all the
libertarian. You're the one who wants this hyper free market capitalism and all the benefits that come with that, right?
No, I just want freedom.
Right. I don't think I have a right to push ideology on other people.
I didn't say anything about capitalism. You're the one who brought that term up. Now, you can have whatever form of economic organization you want to, as long as you're doing it voluntarily. That's all I'm really concerned about. Thank you, John, for the call. I do appreciate the conversation. You're welcome to call us any old time. And thanks for not violating those pesky FCC rules there. At least he didn't do that. His viewpoints were despicable, but at least we got to hear them.
Well, I appreciate him bringing up this act. I really wasn't familiar with it at all, and I had a chance to browse through it. But I'm gonna read the whole thing tonight. So,
but it wasn't about immigration. So
thank you. But the best I can tell, this is about getting citizenship, which is what naturalization is about, not about being on the soil.
Yeah, and again,
they never imagined for a moment that was really a problem.
Right, and he doesn't understand that definition of citizen is one who owes a duty of allegiance in return for an obligation of protection. And if you don't believe me on that, go ahead and look it up. It's the same definition in all the legal dictionaries I've ever looked at it in. It's the same definition in the normal dictionaries. That's
some of them. There are others that go into other things, but yeah.
Oh, can you find me another definition?
Sure,
because that's the definition of citizen from
relatively
what
quickly.
I've seen. That it owes somebody who owes a
but
duty of allegiance.
But a legal definition is a person who owes a duty of allegiance in exchange for an obligation of protection.
That's correct.
And it's really important to note this. The United States Supreme Court has noted multiple times the United States federal government, your local government, and your state government have no obligation to protect you. So the idea that you are a citizen is a fantasy.
Sure.
You are a subject.
People like John, it's like it's all about in-groups and out-groups. And they seem to think that as long as it's their in-group, then everything's fine, right? As long as it benefits me, that's what matters. And they don't care about the other people, and that's where the lack of empathy comes from, and that's what I have a problem with.
Yeah, you could definitely tell that guy did not have any empathy whatsoever for immigration.
Sounded like a civic nationalist
immigrants, for instance. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. You can bring up whatever's on your mind. We'll fit your calls in if we can here in the remaining moments of Free Talk Live, which are coming up.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
Attention radio listeners, have you ever wanted to be independent of the utility companies and actually generate your own supply of off-grid electrical power? If so, this is going to be the most important message you'll ever hear. Here's why. A limited number of solar-powered backup generators are back in stock and now available. These emergency backup systems provide life-saving electrical power when you need it most. And unlike gas generators, a solar generator runs quietly, emits no fumes, and produces an endless supply of free electricity from the sun. It's like having an electric power plant running silently, secretly in your own home. Run sump pumps, shortwave radios, computers, even keep food from spoiling. Go to mysolarbackup.com to learn more. That's mysolarbackup.com. Supplies are still limited and are available on a first-come, first-served basis only. mysolarbackup.com.
Have you ever thought about turning your Glock, XD Family, or 1911 handgun into a semi-automatic carbine? It only takes about 30 seconds. The MacTech Carbine Upper is classified as an accessory and can be delivered right to your doorstep with no FFL or background check required. It's the world's most versatile pistol accessory. Build your custom upper today. Simply go to handgunconversion.com. That's handgunconversion.com.
This is The Onion Week in Review. In light of reports this week of a Russian crime ring stealing 1.2 billion username and password combinations from internet users, experts from top security firms across the country reportedly advised Americans to refrain from clicking on anything at all. The nation's top security specialists warned individuals to actively avoid any scrolling or swiping on the internet, and further urged Americans, as an added precaution, to steer clear of buttons, keyboards, and computer screens altogether. In other news, an employer botches a job interview. A date's flaws are coming at a woman faster than she can rationalize them, and a going out of business sign thanks a neighborhood for 3 months of no support whatsoever. Whether or not this video news summary eased the pain of your existence, you can now take solace in the fact that you're a few minutes closer to departing this meaningless world. For more, keep checking theonion.com.
This is the Onion News Network.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in Liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Moments remain. Maybe time for you. You got to call now, though, to have a chance getting on with us tonight. Our number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. In the studio, Ian,
Tyler,
and Mark.
Don't forget, we've got a website. It's got archives. You can download them at your leisure at freetalklive.com. Plus, follow us on various social medias, such as we're on Telegram. We've got a Telegram channel. You can go to telegram.freetalklive.com. Follow our show prep posts there, stuff we're talking about on the air. Also, toot.freetalklive.com is the Mastodon version of the same information. And we still have one of those Twitters at twitter.freetalklive.com until they take us off of Twitter, which could happen in any moment. So we're going to go back to your calls and thoughts. Of course, you can bring up anything you want. And if we don't get to the chance to talk about this college COVID nonsense that's going to be coming down in the fall semester, we definitely will get into that at some point in the future. There's just so much to cover here tonight. Even David Blaine is back in the news. The magician who did some pretty wild stunts over the last couple of decades. Apparently, he hasn't been seen in like almost a decade. He hasn't done any one of his crazy stunts in quite a long time.
Yeah.
But he's got one coming out where he's planning to float with balloons over New York City. It's a pretty wild kind of stunt. That sounds
I've heard
fun.
you can't actually hold on to helium balloons and float up no matter how many cartoons we've watched.
Well, there's a photograph of at least what appears to be a man being held up by balloons. I presume there's helium inside of them. So I think if you got enough of them, it probably would work. But then again, maybe it's just magic, Mark.
Maybe it's BS.
Or do you repeat yourself? So we go back to your calls and thoughts. Another D-Live caller. Ryan is in Florida. You're on Free Talk Live. Hello, Ryan.
Hey, how you doing tonight?
Ryan, good. What's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm an economics major at the University of Florida, and I was just wondering what y'all's opinion is on
Gators?
the import. Yes, sir, Gators.
My opinion is that Florida State University is a girls' school.
Oh, so what are you, an FSU fan?
FSU is in fact was Florida
State University,
the state of Florida's female college when University of Florida was the male college.
Oh, how about that?
Wow.
Sorry, so Ryan, you were trying to get to
No, I am not an FSU fan.
A question? What was the question? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was going to ask what's your opinion on the importation of foreign labor into the American economy?
I guess I'm going to jump in. And foreign labor into the American economy largely benefits the consumers in the same way that importation of foreign goods into the economy largely benefits the American the American consumer. So it would be bad for you if, say, you worked in a field where not speaking, you didn't have to speak English particularly well, or low skilled, or whatever the case may be. But by and large, I think it benefits all of us.
So I'm actually an economics major too, so that's exciting. If you want my opinion, I would say that foreign labor is definitely a good thing. Cato Institute, I feel like, did research on this years ago and said that there's tons of unused manpower in the world that isn't being utilized, and if we just opened borders and allowed people to move and chase the jobs that they would go after, we would fill all those roles. The problem is with especially agriculture work is you're not going to find Americans that are willing to do that job for the pay that you're getting for that. I know in a lot of states, like the state I'm from, Washington State, if you're an agricultural worker, you don't get overtime, and a lot of the stipulations for what your employers have to pay you get waived. So you end up making less than minimum wage as an agricultural worker, and a lot of Americans just aren't willing to do that.
OpenBorders.org says there'll be a one-time doubling of world GDP just based on opening up labor.
Well, there you go.
But you also said you don't want to do that until the welfare system goes away.
I think that we have a terrible welfare system in the United States. I'm not entirely sure what would happen if they just opened the borders and put the the weight on the welfare system
to make it crash and burn.
But I think it is unfair to make Americans pay for.
Well, Americans should stop paying for it.
Well, I agreed.
Stop being a little bitch. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, wow, that was a mouthful there. Yeah, I was going to say that seems like it's really unfair to the American worker. Like, you're killing their wages for the importation of cheap foreign labor. I mean, all for the sake of consumer goods. But that's kind of a bad take.
What are those American workers going to do with their wages? Buy consumer goods, right?
I think we're looking at this the wrong way. The average American worker is not competing with the immigration worker from Mexico. Okay, the average American worker should be competing against average workers in Europe, right? That are making aerospace parts or machining parts.
Europe, or importing workers from the third world.
Mm-hmm.
If you can't compete against somebody who has a dubious control of the English language, who is willing to work for pittance, then what good are you in the area that you're working? Go on and do something else.
Why are corporations to rake Americans over the coal for foreign nationals that don't even
corporations
have a
corporations are government creations, and I do not believe that people should be. I believe people should be liable for their own actions. So I don't know really how to address that when corporations are trotted out. All I'm saying is if you can't compete against an illiterate Mexican, then perhaps you should pursue another line of work.
Yeah,
you can't compete against an illiterate Mexican if he's completely underbidding you with his the wages he's willing to buy in on.
Well, when I worked as a roofer
this is basic
in the
supply.
90s,
you have an unlimited labor supply and you're importing from the rest of the world. Americans can't compete with that. It's going to drive the wages completely down to nothing.
I think
there is
no
competition.
I think the problem's misplaced. I don't think the problem is bringing workers in. I think the problem is that we sent jobs overseas, and that's where the problem lies.
It's both. It's both. I mean, you're right on that too.
How are you gonna stop sending jobs overseas? I mean, that's either I'm free to manufacture where I want to manufacture, or I'm not free at all.
Yeah, it's called tariffs. You place tariffs on the companies and penalize them for going overseas.
I'm familiar with what the government might do to people in order to fine them for finding lower wage workers. But I think I like real life better. And right now, companies
real life is government. People need a government.
There definitely are people that will pull out a gun, stick it right in your face, and say, "If you don't do what I say, I will blow your brains all over the wall." And some of them work for the government.
And Ryan sounds like he supports that sort of thing, right, Ryan?
Yeah.
That's the kind of person you are. Thanks for the call tonight. 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. Because that's what the answer is. If you support these economic restrictions of not allowing immigrants to come here, or not allowing businesses to go over into another country and manufacture there, then you are supporting using violence against your neighbors. You want your way, and you're willing to kill people in order to have it. That is the essence of statism.
Right. Well, I mean, it's worth pointing out the government is a monopoly on force.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's all it is. I mean, yeah, we can come up with some great rules and whatever, and it's obviously out of control, and I'm for paring it down. By God, I'm ready to work with anybody to pare it down by 30%, 40%, 50%, or whatever. But you need to understand what government is and own it in the first place.
He sounded like he was owning that.
I
want to bring a different
hold on, real quick.
Yep.
I just want to say that the companies that took jobs overseas right now are sorry they did.
Let's talk to Mark in Colorado. You're on Free Talk Live. Go ahead, Mark.
Well, thank you very much, Ian.
Yes.
I just wanted to ask Mark, is he back with you in the studio from the Marianas Islands?
I am currently in the studio.
Came back, what, March, I think? You came back mid-March, like right at the whole COVID.
I can't remember whether
I missed that. I'm sorry.
I think it was at
Forgive me.
April.
Please forgive me.
Yeah, no problem at all. But according to the IRS...
I thought that was the place to go, so I went there, and then I came back to find him.
You went to the Mariana Islands, and you looked for Mark, but he wasn't there?
I couldn't find him, and they said he left, and I went back.
Well, it's hard to find
Denver.
people over there because I hear there's no addresses, so you can't, you don't know where to go unless somebody tells you where to go.
Oh, well, it was beautiful palm trees and white beaches, but...
Cool. It sounds very nice. I wish I could have gone to
Did
visit.
they put you in quarantine?
Well, I didn't know where he was. I listened on the internet.
Well, he's got an email address. You could always just email him and say, "Hey, Mark, where are you? I'm down here at the bar," or whatever, or wherever people hang out.
You were talking about cash earlier.
Yeah.
Cash. And I think I called you about a year or two ago, and I told you you don't own anything. If you don't pay the registration on your car or property taxes or any of it, you don't own nothing. You're renting.
Yep.
So in your life, you're renting things. Unless you have $20 billion
From
in
the
gold.
government. Mark, you're absolutely right, man. I got to cut you there. Thank you for the call tonight. I want to make sure we get Craig in Montana in here for the last thoughts. Calling from KXTL. Go ahead, Craig.
Hey.
Hey, you're on the air.
Y'all was talking a little while ago about how dirty money is, just to handle it, and germs and coins and everything.
Mm-hmm.
I've been thinking for a while, and I've talked to my wife about this. So you go to a doctor's office, pick up a 4-year-old Good Housekeeping magazine. Every sick person in town been sneezing and coughing all over that
Great
magazine, and it's in a doctor's office.
Yep, that's a
thanks
great
for the
point.
new neurosis, dude.
I'm glad we got that call in. Thank you,
Hey,
Craig.
indeed.
I really
Gold.
appreciate it, man. We'll see you tomorrow night. You can join us online in the meantime over at freetalklive.com.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless free market non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it.